Bang! Welcome, Saturday Night Bang. Thank you, everybody, all the viewers who are watching. Thanks to everybody in the chat. And thanks to Rob Farlow, aka the Stone Sailor, who's a regular talking head here on our show. And thank you, Brian Loma, for being here. Rob.
Hey, check this out. It ain't Saturday Night Fever. It ain't Saturday Night Live. It's Saturday Night Bang.
Bang.
All right? Bang. Now listen, get off the internet porn, tune in, and you might learn something today, folks, okay? So make sure you're paying attention. This is the real deal here. We got a real great guest here talking about something that's near and dear everyone's vested in, the environment. Yes. Or they need to be vested in it, okay? Go ahead, Brian.
My sister Gail. Sorry. Brian, aka Cut the Plastic, Brian Loma, you've done a lot for our community, for the homeless community in your area, and for the world. Like, we're going to learn more about you. I want to just take a second to say hi to everybody in the chat. Mrs. Word, Don Quinnick Beasley, Alabama Camera always here, Snap Faith, Bang, Sergeant Audit, Dylan Shea, Invalid Request. I've been watching your videos, Invalid Request, and we're on it. Rogue Nation has been, and he's in here too. What's up, brother?
Nice.
I think he's in here still. He said, "This is dead. I'm out." That's probably before the show started. We just got here, bro. He's always early. He's like this, you know.
Don't tap out.
Aqualung is a fellow Marine. I'm in the hospital. I had a couple of convulsions. I've been here for 3 days. All right, brother. Sending positive vibes to you, and I'll find out where you are and see if I could stop by. I don't like those places, but I'll go for you, man. The news. What's up? Always cool to see you. Soy Leal also. And I'm gonna go ahead and scroll down to the bottom. We're here. God's Property, Robert Chase. Leslie Sylvan, thank you for being here. And everyone else, thank you again. So Brian, please tell us how long you've been in this. Tell us what got you started, and we can also share screen and read some stuff off to talk about who you are.
Well, this being the YouTube internet community really started as a backup camera and safety for Eric Brandt. Eric is a famous activist in Denver, Colorado, and the metropolitan area for fighting issues of police brutality, the overreaction of the need to use force against the civilian populations, and general rules that are tomfoolery when it comes to just the rights of citizens that he fought for as a veteran of the submarine force. So
Brian, can I call you Brian? Brian,
go ahead.
May I call you Brian?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm Finn Interrupter.
Okay.
I'm gonna interrupt every now and then. Today is the 27th of February, the Dominican Independence Day. I'm wearing my Dominican jersey representing. My mom's Dominican, and I'm an American. I was born here, but you got to have pride in your culture. There's an understanding of why people do this, and Rob, you're multicultural as well. You're Jewish and Italian, right?
Jewish, Italian, yeah. Little English too, yeah. And very proud
is here.
Jewish Italian, that's great.
ECD.
I know, right? What a combination. I was born to argue, born in conflict, man.
that might teach me something a little bit about myself. My mother's father actually converted to Catholicism to get married. And my father's mother is Sicilian, so
okay. Yeah. Well, the great thing about it is I get to have Jesus when it's convenient for me. So that's the best thing, man. If things go wrong, I pray to Jesus. Things go, I always got him there. He's like my trump card, well,
I don't know if I want to use him as a trump card.
Well, you know what I mean.
As a backup or your ace.
My ace.
When you get up to the pearly gates, you're like, yarmulke, no yarmulke.
Yeah, whatever.
What are we doing?
Yeah, what's the uniform of the day? Whatever it is, I'm going in. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, just let me in.
Well, back to you, Brian. I had to take that minute to switch wardrobe also. Crispy new shirt, the GOAT,
Nice.
greatest of all time, Tom Brady. People have seen the Tom Brady one before, but that's the new one. And
I have
back to
not
you, Brian.
Before. But I have to wish everybody in the chat a happy Fuck the Cops Day. I see Eric and many others are in the community as well. And that's really it's interesting because I'm actually creating a backup channel for the human rights side of life, and it's called Seeking Justice. Yeah, when I started with this, I remember having this conversation with Eric that I want to do the things that are about the environment, and I want to be inclusive in all of that. And fortunately, through some of the legal processes that we're going through, I'm going to find that I'm going to be able to fund a nonprofit through some of the injustices that have happened that we're in the 5-year plan of anticipating. But I always have been about the environment. The page that we're looking right now, Cut the Plastic, it's available at .net or WordPress. cuttheplastic.wordpress.com. Either way, the page is dedicated to several years that I spent in the South Pacific and practicing an education of teaching people about plastic pollution.
Yeah, Fiji, right?
I've been in Fiji. I spent Samoa, American Samoa, and I've been in Hawaii. I've looked at the environmental conditions in the infrastructure. Growing up in Wisconsin, recycling's the law, and so that's how I grew up as a child. And we come to a place like Denver, Colorado, where you can't even find a water fountain to fill your sustainable beverage container. As a person of who has access to money to go buy things like a sustainable beverage container. And so if I can't as a housed person get a glass of water for myself running around town trying to spend money, go participate in the community, how hard could it be for a guest or for the people who don't have the ability to fill their water bottle before they leave their house? And it's a big deal to me. Just a couple of quick facts. The average volume of a single-use unsustainable beverage container, 25% of the volume of that water bottle is how much oil is burned into the atmosphere to manufacture and deliver that one bottle. So when we look at, I see you have emissions from what I'm assuming is Commerce City, just outside Denver on the screen. And they've had many chemical eruptions recently where there's been powder on cars. There's been noxious odors traversing major swaths of the metropolitan area from their pollution at Suncor. But overall, we're in the billions and billions of human beings, and if all we did was purchase stuff that we immediately disposed of, we'd run out of resources.
They're the core of the problem, Suncor. And it's frustrating when the burden is on us to go and take all these measures and wash our garbage before we throw it. Why do I have this on my hands? Why didn't I just get a piece of fruit like I wanted? Why did it have to come wrapped in all this stuff? What percentage, you know the percentages, what percentage of pollution is contributed to the world by what handful of number of companies? It's probably 6 or 7 corporations out there who contribute a majority of the plastic.
Well, the reality of the world is that there's only 6 or 7 corporations that run the majority of global business.
Right.
Yeah,
so plastic is oil. Oil is plastic, and they got to keep that pipeline of that circular. They're recycling money in their pocket.
Yeah,
well,
it's on our backs. It's the same as it was during the industrial age with the robber barons. It's the same 5 or 6 dudes, Carnegie, freaking Rockefeller, and now we have our new crop of people. that are
And
running.
at this piece, it's like it's 10 years before you actually win an action, and they've already moved on, made their money, and they're like, yeah, sorry, slap on the wrist, fine.
Yeah, no criminal record, just a little fine.
But go on.
We haven't learned from the Love Canal and from the Cuyahoga River. You know, when you have bodies of water lighting on fire due to industrial waste.
Back in the 70s, there were rivers on fire, and even today, though, you'll see it. But 500 million straws are used daily. Is that like a real thing, the straw thing? Because like I saw the turtle. It was like a viral video of a turtle. Do straws really get stuck up that many turtles' noses?
Well, so let's look at the picture behind in the background. It's kind of multifaceted there. That is floating trash in the ocean. And that's, just not even what somebody would consider the space of their backyard.
I don't mean to scoff at that. I meant it like because I think like straws are a very, very, very low percentage of the amount of plastic waste in the water. And if we really want to do something, it's the stuff that gets through filters, like those micro beads, micro abrasion beads. Those things are horrible for our environment. All kinds of small fish eat those.
Yes, but it doesn't matter what the plastic content is if it's coming from petroleum-based products, because there's chemical agents and additives like bisphenols that leachate out or they basically come out of the plastics when they're exposed to water and sunlight.
These things anybody burned plastic knows that horrible smell.
Yeah, well, they're DNA modifiers. So when we get to the point where in Colorado it rains plastic in the water, right? What's going to happen is that we're going to see the same thing happening to human species that's happening to fish species in harbors, where instead of having a natural balance of males and females, you have a female population catastrophically different from the male population because of DNA modifications based on the chemical emissions from plastics in the water. It's the short.
I gotta send my cousin out there because like he has 4 boys, so maybe he'll even it out. Just
well,
it's a joke,
right?
Get me too.
So the it adds up, and when we look at it, the mass of human beings. The Story of Stuff is a great website to check out. There's a story of plastics. And I could tell you because we were talking about Fiji and the Samoan Islands. When I was in Apia, Samoa, for example, and you'd go buy coffee, you'd buy a little sachet that was like a little sugar packet when you're at the restaurant. And the family, if there were 5 people having coffee, they'd come back with 5 little sachets instead of one giant one that was enough coffee to feed everybody, right? So the plastic, you and I, we don't buy coffee in a little coffee, in a little sugar container, the size of a half a receipt or something, right? You wouldn't buy your coffee in a little thing like that. You buy it in a 1 pound bag. So in some areas of the world, all that plastic is accumulating. And the fact is that like it's layered. So you have metal, and you might have a layer of plastic, and then you might have another layer of plastic or 2. So even though it's a really thin surface, there's multi-layers to it, which make it catastrophically difficult to recycle. And that's part of the sustainable consumption mentality, is that if we reduce the amount of things that we need to consume, and we have enhanced manufacturers' responsibilities, which say, I'm going to buy my marijuana in a giant plastic container that I can put in my single stream recycling with my water bottle, with my milk jug, and it will get recycled because it's going to be shredded down into pellets. It'll be added into the reuse into the feed to have mixed percentages of recycled plastic. And I see the conversations, hemp, all these things. You can't actually smoke the container. because you're talking about hemp herds or hemp fibers being processed. But the great thing about hemp is that it is a carbon sink, and it is organic. Unlike these plastics, which actually come from the waste of the oil and gas refining processes. So they're the trash to begin with, and they just continue to pollute afterwards. So we definitely want to get back to the hemp world, the hemp lifestyle. I was at Costco the other day, and they gave me a paper straw to go with my beverage, right? So there's definitely a reality that your plastic straw is going to last 200 to 300 years in the environment, and you only use it for maybe 10 minutes. So is that really right?
Yeah, and they're making us do all the changes. That's what I'm saying. It's like the burden should be on the corporations to change the thing and go back to hemp, like you said. That's more efficient. What they don't like money. They don't like green, good money. Like, it's just smart. But
I've been, me, because I'm a cannabis advocate. I've been doing a lot of research about the hemp with the plastic, and it's just I don't understand why we're not doing it. I can't. I mean, it's so ridiculous that we have this stigma with marijuana. I mean, hemp is biodegradable. You can make plastic from it. You can fuel cars with it.
So they're building in Arizona, if I remember correctly, a hemp straw factory, right, to take hemp and process it. In Kentucky, there's a company that makes fiberboard. They take the stalks of the hemp plant. They don't need the flower, the oil, the seed, but that has to cure. Excuse me. It has to cure in the field. It has to dry. It has to, to get all the water out of it and crack so that the core of the stalk can be basically thrashed out, right? So these things have to be separated. Then the fibers have to be combed over and over again, much like silk or cottons. And the reality is that this technology hasn't been advanced for 100 years. So
exactly
10 years ago, when they started really thinking that we're going to move in this direction, they're trying to build machines that haven't been created for 100 years. And then
because of the whole prohibition on marijuana.
Yeah. So it's coming.
Hey, I got another question for you, Brian. What would you say to people that believe that, hey, here we are in America, we have all these regulations on how we do things as far as, things got to be, with OSHA, they got to stay in compliant with a lot of stuff. And these Chinese over there and the Russians, they don't do that. As far as when they're making their products and things like that, they pollute the environment. They do all kinds of stuff. Chinese have people in slave labor. What do you say to people that say, hey, why do we have to follow all these restrictions and the Chinese don't? And they come in and they can completely wipe us out because they don't have to follow all these rules and regulations. So people are upset.
Why what you mean by that?
No, I want to hear.
I'm confused what you mean by wipe us out, but let me give you some thoughts. In Chicago, children used to walk in vats of chemicals, vinegar and stuff, to tar, to process leathers from the stockyards and the slaughterhouses, so that the hides, the hair would be eaten off the hides, and kids were handling this. This was a child's job. Now, our children go to school, right? They at least until they're 17, 18 years old. People actually rioted and protested peacefully, depending on the methodologies of the day, and people got executed so that you and I could have a right to an 8-hour workday.
Absolutely.
Okay?
I know that.
Now, I might live in the wealthiest or highest consuming nation in the planet, but I don't necessarily know that I live in the highest like the country that has the highest moral backbone or grounding. So people have a choice, right? We have a choice to ignore the person that sleeps on the sidewalk, or we have the option to ask them if they've eaten. Could I offer them some clothing, a shower, a hot meal? Did you want to go to work today? Right? And I can change the life of the human next to me. Now,
Wolfie gladly said,
on the regular, excuse me.
the only thing they do now is they'll stop for a homeless person to put a mask on them, and that's it.
Well,
or arrest them.
here's where I'm getting at. Forget the mask part of it, okay? I do my best to avoid purchasing products new that are manufactured overseas when I can avoid it. All right.
You just hit the nail on the head, because that's what I tell people when they say, why should we have to comply with all these safety and health regulations and the Chinese don't? I say, listen, here's how you make them comply. Don't purchase from them. Buying power.
This is my 4-year-old plastic cup.
Yeah, do not trade with them. Do not purchase their products until they get in compliance with the environment. That's what I say.
And it's a reality, but that's the concept of being conscientious of our space and place and our footprint, right? Because like this is spaceship Earth, and if you're a Christian, then this is the Garden of Eden, because when it comes to the size of planet Earth by comparison to, say, a giant red dwarf, right? We're the dot at the end of the period on the screen in comparison to the size of that star, right?
Yeah.
So as we grow in our social conscious, then we behave as such. Is it possible to live 100% free of international consumerism? Is it possible? I don't think so. But
I don't think it's not 100%. No,
not 100%. But we have the capacity to say what companies, what entities.
Actually, that's a really good segue right there, because this is not sponsored by them or anything. But before, when I was talking to you, I asked if you had any like local agencies that you work with where you could send people for resources or whatever. Yeah. And everybody sucks. Everybody sucks. They don't really help. They just act like it, and they cause a lot more trouble sometimes. So as far as consuming from the right companies, I get these socks from this place called Bombas. Have you seen them? Bombas are a company that hold on, let me close this. Yeah, they believe in comfortable or whatever. But they also put a clean pair of socks on a homeless person every time you buy a pair of socks.
Okay.
And from the work that I've done in the community, I know that's like the number one thing that they always need is socks. You get somebody else's shoes, that can be donated, but you can't donate socks. So they can only give out fresh, new socks, to not spread.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And Bombas is like absolutely known for the idea that buy a pair, we give away a pair. I think they're amazing.
Yeah.
I recently had somebody in my car that I took to a agency to try to get a hotel voucher, and they didn't get a voucher because of whatever. They didn't want to move from where they were at, kind of situation, but they did get a pair of Bombas socks and a t-shirt.
Nice.
With some food, a sandwich and whatever before they left the facility. So absolutely, I have experienced Bombas socks being given away. I don't buy socks new, but that's because I've learned to shop by the pound, And those who have money to buy things, I encourage them to buy underwear because nobody wants to get used underwear.
Right.
But the unhoused will definitely get, they will wear used socks. And I'm glad. I just want to say Lana is the queen of the trial binder, and I'm glad to know that she has a belly button.
I was arrested last year 3 times in as many states, and one of those times there was this dude in there. He was like, "Hey man, when you get out of here, can I get your socks?" I'm like, "Of course you can, man." I give him my socks, poor dude.
So, so I'm curious here to the Stone Sailor. Have you ever taken your socks off and given them to a person?
No, I have not, sir. But I know socks. I do know socks are the perfect gift because everybody can use them.
So I have to tell you that socks are so important that Janet Matzen, if you haven't heard of Janet,
yes,
she is a saint. When they made it illegal to be unhoused in the city and county of Denver, Janet Matzen started a protest. And for almost 9 years now, we've been feeding on a weekly basis while educating people about these laws. Janet has absolutely walked up to me and said, I need your socks. The ones on your feet right now.
Wow.
Now I've gotten in the habit since then. What we do is we go to a place called Goodwill Outlet World, and there's a video on my channel recently. I'm learning to edit videos, so I made one of a bunch of us different people going shopping. What we do is we buy stuff by the pound. Clothing is like $1.79 a pound. So it doesn't matter if you find 20 pairs of socks or a jacket that's like 3-layer with an outer fleece. It's all by the pound.
Interesting concept.
Yeah. And so basically, like, there's these thrift stores that are nonprofit. They benefit veterans. Goodwill Industries is known. The Salvation Army. Some places have had St. Vinnie de Paul's. We have one called the Ark. It works with the handicapped, the mentally disabled. And so people take their stuff to these stores that they don't want anymore. And when they don't sell at Goodwill, or Goodwill gets, or like this one's Goodwill, they have too many things. They dump it at a warehouse.
Hey, Lone Wolf, this is Cut the Plastic. He's a legend. He's worked with Eric Brandt out there, and he's done so much good for the, like, as we're talking about the homeless. I mean, you can hear when I talk to Eric Brandt, who's like a godfather in this, and I asked him, "Hey, Eric, well, can you tell me about the homeless?" He said, "Talk to Cut the Plastic about that. Brian is the expert on it." You were just at the beautiful building of Union Station, and you had a sit-in there. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So again, with Eric, because Eric wrote to the advisory board and said, "Hey, you're changing this rule. It says that you have to have shoes on your feet in order to get on a bus." And so he started protesting. Oh, there he is.
That's one of my favorite things about him. And I told my mom, she said, "Oh, I'm painting my nails." I said, "Oh, me too." She said, "What? Why?" I said, "Because Eric Brandt." She said, "Who?" I told her about it. And I thought it was to get the bus driver's attention, to trigger him into being a jerk and saying, "You can't be on here." But it's to say that, no, my feet aren't actually technically bare. There's paint on my toenails.
Yeah. That's the type of genius.
Smart, man. And so they're using COVID, right, to say to people, you don't have the right to fall asleep while you're at the Union Station waiting for your train or bus. You don't have the right to sit on the floor and relax, stretch out, do some yoga.
One of the places I worked with here is called Ready for Life, and it takes in young people who have just aged out of the foster care system. They didn't get adopted. They're 18 years old. The state of Florida said, good luck. And they spend their night sleeping on those buses. So one of the big things we could get them is bus passes. You know what I mean? And now I think things are different. I don't think they're charging to be on the bus now. Everything's free.
Wow, that's nice. We still have to pay, definitely.
Well, I don't know for
Definitely have
sure.
to
I'm just saying that, but I know. Oh, as an update to my last video, there was an email that was sent from the Pinellas Transit Authority director, formally apologizing in writing for their security guard, the Sloppy Joe, trampling on our rights and telling us that we could not. Uh, Shout out to Rogue Nation for forwarding that to me from this guy. Let me just get to this real quick, if you don't mind me interrupting again.
No, you're good. It's actually interesting. We had Eric Brandt and some others a year or two ago, 2 years almost now, attempting to get interviewed by Fox News at Union Station.
Yeah.
You say, "Oh, the buses are free." No, here in Colorado, to use the bathroom in Union Station, you have to have a bus pass. You have to pay
Really?
to get into the public, not even downtown terminal, for the public building where the hotel and the beautiful lobby and the bars are at.
Yeah.
That public funded
That's
millions and millions
ridiculous.
of
You know,
dollars.
my wife
crazy.
and I went into the Savoy Hotel in London, where Elizabeth Taylor had her first honeymoon, and it's like high tea time in there and everything. And we dumped out in there, man, for free.
Yeah.
there's a splash guard on the urinal so you don't get pee-pee on your shoes. It's sweet. Hey, so listen to this. Mr. Prescott is a viewer, and he said, "Hi, guys. Because of your videos and something that happened to my son and I in Jacksonville, I knew that it was time for all tax-paying citizens to stand up for what you do. After seeing Rice Krispies Sloppy Joe video, I was pissed and started back at the PSTA. So he spoke to them, and they wrote back this. I enjoyed speaking with you earlier today. Per my promise to you, please accept this written correspondence as my sincere apologies on behalf of the PSTA. To you and those you were with at the PSTA properties in the past, for any directives you may have received from PSTA employees, contractors, representatives, including hired security personnel, which you perceived as suppressing your general rights as a citizen, rest assured that was not our intent. You have the absolute right to access the public areas, whether to access transit, explore, look around, use the facilities, photograph, video, film, and any other freedoms afforded to all of us you may wish to enjoy. In public transportation, our folks are, and this is about security, and sorry we got mixed up with our security measures by accidentally trampling on your rights, and we won't do it again." So that's the update to that sloppy joke.
Wow. I was just, as I was prepping for the show and thinking about Elijah McClain and RTD and public transit, we did do a sit-in just a couple of weeks ago where we actually did yoga in the middle of the Union Station lobby.
That's what I was talking about. You guys were all on yoga mats.
We were all on yoga mats. Yeah. But there was a guy that was assaulted. He was at a club or something like that. I can't remember his name right now. But basically 3 private security guards contracted for RTD lured this guy into the bathroom and beat the crap out of him.
Oh, man.
And so there's been this catastrophic imbalance because the unhoused have to deal with these private security guards, and these private security guards just got their contract renewed, or they were trying to get their contract renewed because 3 guards pled guilty to beating somebody up while on the job. And the company's nah, no big deal, business as usual.
So the unhoused, is that the proper way to say that now? Because I don't want to say the wrong thing anymore. I don't want to say the wrong thing about anything anymore.
It's hard because sometimes you have to say the wrong things.
I know. I was being facetious.
I agree. I love it.
People need to hear people say "Happy Fuck the Cops Day." right?
I had to say that wrong thing about not wanting to say wrong things for you guys to say that you want to say wrong things. You know what I mean?
Listen, here's my mantra. I didn't learn to walk on eggshells around anybody ever again. So that's my mantra in life now. So I say it like it is.
Hey, Paula. Welcome aboard. UGP Vlogs. Go to Paula. Help her out.
Yeah, I think the RTD giving the guy brain damage. Amazing, awesome, and awesome in city. There, he's got it right. It's that guy got brain damage when he was assaulted.
Was that in Aurora also? Where that?
Yeah, they beat him up. He had brain damage, like permanent, permanent brain damage. I wish I could remember the guy's name.
Kenneth.
That Kenneth is amazing, awesome. This brutality, this mentality that when you put on a uniform, when you put on a badge, that you have a right to be the modern day slave master instead of a servant to the people is what this really has become all about.
You know, and that's why this guy right here in the middle and between us, he's on this show because he's one of those unicorns that he does understand that completely. And that's how he behaved. From day one, he let them know. If anybody steps out of line, I'm going to report you.
Yeah. And that's...
Hey, listen, it's very easy. When they put you through training, they pump you up, and a lot of guys get drunk with power. Because think about it. What other organization investigates themselves when they're accused of breaking the law other than the police?
Yeah. Okay. We're working on a story right now. You guys might have seen James Madison Audits. Shout out to James. He has a smoking banger video with a tyrant sheriff up in South Carolina. He went up there for a funeral, and first half of the video, he put the sergeant in place like I've never seen, like masterful. Like he pulled out his cop experience to like tell him, you're not going to talk over me, blah, blah. And then he walks away, and the sheriff tries to come at him. And the way the sheriff showed his ass was just go to James Madison Audits and watch that. And I was talking about him because why was I talking about? Oh, yeah, he's been doing other work about Gulfport. We went to Gulfport recently, Rogue Nation and Eyes on the State, and a new channel, Florida News Network, and also Ray Rodriguez and Jesse Lee were out there. And we're working on their story for them because Gulfport has, and Rob, I got to show you these guys. Gulfport has the chief and the commander who are both on the commission for the certification inspections for all agencies in Florida. So those two guys go all over to other agencies in the state and tell them what they're doing.
The accreditation.
They wouldn't even give us a complaint form. And so there's going to be.
That's so they can go and say they have zero complaints. They investigated. Everyone's happy.
Exactly. They have the report saying exactly that. In 2018, they said, "Oh, we have zero bias complaints against us this year." Yeah, I know.
If they won't give you a form,
cheaters, liars, dishonorable, and
they're a bunch of lowlights, man. They're just lowlights. Yeah. And how about how the one
that story? See the first few parts on the last few videos that go watch like the last 4 videos that James Madison Audit has done. It is amazing. You're not going to waste your time.
When we get to the part about Elijah McClain, which was the big thing
please.
that one of the things we really need to cover is this is the mentality that the independent review board came out with and said, not only did you guys find yourself not guilty, the way you asked the questions, the way you interviewed, the way the officers laid out the precedented leading comments that are required to exonerate themselves.
Yeah.
is disgusting, right? The fact that it's just so damn disgusting.
Let me show what happened for people who haven't seen this yet, but we gotta watch this, unfortunately.
Still hard to find a spot.
There's
just
an ad.
easier to park. Still
Maybe we
the
shouldn't
move,
watch the ad.
Just more moving. Still
Yeah,
singing.
they're not the best.
Just more in tune.
Yeah.
Still the
I was trying to get
mute for a second.
A Chevy family of
That's what she said.
SUVs, making life's journey just better.
Now, during the President's
Oh,
Day
thanks,
Chevy
Tommy
Drive
Huxley.
event, current
I
qualified
appreciate you, brother.
competitive lessees can get this.
Look at that, Tommy. Way to go, man.
For around $279
Way to go,
a month.
bro.
Hurry and see
I don't
your
need
Southern
that, but thank
California
you.
Chevy dealers during the President's
Maybe
Day
I'll buy a
Chevy
Chevy.
Drive event.
Chevy.
A plea for justice from the family of
Here
Elijah.
we go.
Still hard to find a
Oh,
spot.
are you kidding
just
me?
Easier to
What?
park.
I'm sorry.
Are
I
these
was trying to
guys
rewind it, and it
Still
like
the big
pulled this
move. Just more
ad
moving.
again.
won't let you do it?
Yeah.
So let's just kind of lay this up here.
Yeah.
2020, everybody knows about George Floyd. They watched it on their televisions. They watched it on their cell phones as it was happening. Elijah McClain isn't the same. Elijah McClain's story was quiet at first. It took months. We knew about it because being members of the local journalism press, quite honestly, I mentioned Janet. Eric's been to this place as well. Elijah McClain's grandmother actually gets the benefit of community food resources from the efforts of Occupy Denver and its affiliates that do food deliveries to senior citizens and their in their group living arrangements. So Elijah McClain's grandmother has been a recipient and a member of our community before her grandson's life was taken. And basically this kid, he went to the Shell gas station. The Shell gas station is located on Colfax Avenue in Aurora, Colorado. Colfax Avenue used to be known as the longest continuous strip in the United States of America, from Golden, Colorado to the end of Aurora. Interstate 225 bypasses and intersects at Colfax. And Elijah McClain was buying some food, some groceries, whatever he was getting at the Shell station. He left, and the rest is traumatic.
Yeah.
Catastrophic history.
McClain.
For them to kill him because he was that bright and shiny.
It's horrible what they did to this kid.
Yeah.
And it didn't really get any coverage.
Here we go.
Hurts.
Well, no.
More than 2 million people.
Finding local pros
No,
takes
it's an ad again.
forever.
Sorry, folks.
Thumbtack fixed that.
I give up.
It's
We
the
don't.
app.
We don't
Look,
need
you should
to watch
actually
that.
just
Look
get
it
a
up.
YouTube ad, not a news channel.
I know,
Because the
right?
videos are on YouTube. But basically, what happened, and while you're pulling this up, I'll lay out the story of this. So the neighborhood, you gotta understand, there's a 6-lane highway, and that goes north south, and a 4 to 6 lane regular road that goes east west. And what do you have along these places? You have bulk housing, you have apartment complex, you have trailer parks, you have low income access. That's the kind of people that's the kind of places that you put next to loud, noisy roads. So there's a gas station at the intersection. Elijah is buying his groceries. He's walking home. Somebody drives by and they see a black person with a black hooded mask and hat on, like a baklava type deal, right? Over the head, all one piece, all around here, covering this, over his shoulder a little bit. And he's dancing. He's moving wildly and weirdly with his bag in his hand.
He's feeling the last few moments of his life, enjoying
Yeah.
it.
They called 911 and they said, this person seems abnormal to me. I want somebody with a gun to go look at it. That's what they did.
Wow.
And it turns out that Elijah McClain was the kind of human being that would go play a violin to animals at a shelter.
At the vet, right? At the shelter.
To keep them calm. Right? We think it's a big deal to go feed humans and provide them a full belly so they got nowhere to go poop. Right? This person's playing music for animals. They're an introvert. They're known. The video at the Shell station actually shows Elijah bowing.
Yeah.
As he steps out of line after making his purchase.
He's so respectful.
There was the report is scathing. I don't know if you have a copy of it. I think I emailed it to you.
Yeah, I have all that stuff if you want to see it here.
Do you have the investigation and recommendations? I think there's a couple of pieces that are, without going into the 175 pages, very telling. And it's actually the table of contents. If you want to know what's there, you just have to read it, because then you see what's missing. So if we go down to page 2, we're going to just slow down for a second, okay? So basically the report has some looks at things. The decision to stop Mr. McClain, the decision to frisk Mr. McClain, the decision to arrest Mr. McClain by physical restraint and movement, okay? Now, if you're go ahead.
He went hands-on immediately. That's why I wanted Rob to see the video. It's just like
yeah. Pull it up, go through your thing, because I know it's there. I know it's available. 9 News Denver had one that I was watching this morning.
Okay.
That was basically the same thing 7 had, I think, and basically. They did. The report, and what I'm looking at in this report, why I'm kind of feeding some time in this, is that there's the investigative role of a peace officer calling to see, is there something suspicious going on? The idea that they should be aware of their surroundings, they should have some situational awareness. Rob, do you know anything about situational awareness?
Absolutely.
So if you go to a call as an officer, what do you do as you approach the scene?
Well, you want to be aware of anything. For instance, you want to, if you got your radio on, you want to turn it down. You want to listen as you're approaching. Depends on what the call is. If it's a code 3 call, then obviously you're going lights and sirens. If it's a report of someone, maybe possible an argument in a home, you don't want to have your sirens. You want to be able to approach silently, pay attention, look at your watch, mental notes, what time it is, who you see, just, look around, see if the scene's, what's going on, you size everything up, and then you proceed from there. And this is before you get out of your car. When you get out of your car, then you make another situation, you do another analysis.
Let me check real quick. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know you were.
No, you're absolutely right. And what we're listening to here is the caller.
Okay.
Well, I'm skipping that.
Yeah, that's fine. Basically, the person says they're just acting funny. They're not hurting anybody. There's not a crime going on.
Hey, stop right there. Stop. I have a right to stop you because you're being suspicious. Well, okay. Turn around.
Right there.
Pause.
Stop.
Yeah.
What was that? 10 seconds?
Stop tensing up, bro. Stop tensing.
Like right there, the guy's an introvert, and he just starts going after like what he's known he knows what he has to say, right? He has to say like, "Hey, I have boundaries. This is my medical issue. Get your hands off me, please stop." And this guy was not listening to him.
Right, but here's the key, because you saw that immediately. I counted for roughly 10 seconds what I felt like. Right, the cop rolls up, starts telling you with your headphones on, stop, 8, 9 times, and then he grabs you. This is one of the biggest keys to this incident that we're going to cover, because it's the difference between a Tory stop and an arrest. Rob, would you like to tell us what the difference is?
Well, the Terry stop, if you have probable cause and reasonable suspicion, you're allowed to engage and do a pat down, but for weapons, only weapons. Okay. If you feel something in the pocket that you believe is a knife or a gun, something
if
along
you have
that.
a good reason to fear for your life and think that this person does have a weapon. That's Terry v. Ohio. We're not lawyers, but Rob is a retired.
So what's an arrest?
An officer.
An arrest is when I completely stop your movement and put you in handcuffs. That's an arrest.
Do you want to carry the video for a second, Rights?
Yeah.
Tensing up. Stop tensing up. Stop tensing up.
No, let go of me.
Stop tensing up.
No, I am an introvert. Please respect the boundaries that I'm speaking.
Stop tensing up.
Stop.
Relax.
Stop. I'm going home.
Relax, or I'm going to have to change this situation. Stop.
Leave me alone.
Stop.
Can you please? No, I want to leave me alone. No, we're gonna. First off, you guys started to arrest me, and I was stopping my music to listen. Now let go of me.
Let's get over to this.
Lay down. Just write your gun, dude. Stop, dude.
Neither one of them hesitated to just grab them.
So the point that the report had.
No, I am an introvert. Please respect.
Now let me ask you a question. When he said I am an introvert, now I know he's a gifted musician. Did he have some developmental problems? As far as okay, but I'm saying
I think that he just was standing up for himself. I mean,
no. I'm asking. No, I'm saying me. If I'm walking and I'm Monday morning this, but when I hear somebody use words like that to me, I would want to like go, oh, okay. I'm thinking maybe he's got autism or so. You know what I'm saying? You can't just jump on people. You got to.
I think there was probably some of those things in his life that were there, whether it was diagnosed or not.
When I'm approaching somebody, immediately I'm doing the assessment and I'm trying to get them to speak. Hello, how are you? And if obviously I know what a drunk person or an impaired person sounds like, I understand if someone maybe has some kind of an impediment or something. So it's maybe the person's deaf. You don't know. Yeah. So
let me just say this, Rob. If somebody grabbed me right away and I didn't, have any issues or anything, I'd probably say something weird like, hey, wait, hold on, buy me dinner first or something. Like, why are you grabbing me?
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is he went, I am an introvert. And to me, that would have made if I'm there, I'm thinking, okay, this is a young kid. Obviously, no one said he had a gun on him. No one said that he was beating up anybody. They want you to check him out. You could, you didn't have to jump on the guy and be aggressive with him. You could have got out of the car and said, excuse me, hey, from first, 6-7 feet away. Hey man, what's going on? How are you?
He's like, I would never hurt anybody. I'm an introvert. I think that's what he's trying to get out, that he's a peaceful guy.
Yeah.
And absolutely in the chat it says I'm reminded that he was autistic. I thought so, but I didn't want to
No. I understand. The thing is, I kind of knew that just by hearing him that he had some kind of an impediment. So I would know, hey, this is a special needs person. So I got to be even more careful. Like immediately, because because he was like, I'm an introvert. And that to me, using that type of word, to me, when a young man usually don't use words like that. You know what I'm saying? They might say, hey, get the fuck off me. Hey, who the fuck are you? Okay, I've heard that before. You know what I mean? But the thing is, I would like knowing that you're going to be dealing with people automatically. That would have sent a flag off in my head. I would have probably said, okay, he's probably, maybe autistic or maybe whatever. I got to be even extra careful.
Hands off,
I got to
hands off, more. Right? Isn't
exactly.
That
I don't. The last thing I want to do is, even if this young man is, I mean, if he flees from me, obviously I got to have to pursue him because, but I'm going to be even more kind and more respectful and sensitive than I normally am because I know I'm dealing with a more sensitive situation.
Well, and what you've described might be somebody who walked up and started by trying to have a conversation. What you saw was
he didn't try to have a conversation.
There was no conversation. The car was driving down the road. He saw the person that was called on. He pulled the car over. He got out of his car. He said 8 times, stop, and he laid hands on.
Yes.
Right. As soon as he crossed the street, he went hands on right away, and that's like when he's right in front of the kid.
What is that describe?
Is there like protocol? Like once you go hands on,
there is.
No turning back.
Guess what?
You got to keep hands on, and you got to subdue them.
Guess what? According to the protocol, he followed it to the T. You want to know why? Because he gave that young man what they call a lawful order, and as soon as that young man didn't halt, he disobeyed that lawful order.
No, it wasn't an lawful order.
No. No. What I'm saying is he's saying that I gave him lawful orders to stop. Therefore, he didn't comply, so I escalated to hands on. That's just
the kid had headphones on.
No, I understand what you're saying.
He didn't have reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime. He was just saying you're guilty of being suspicious.
Yes, what I'm saying is that he can walk up and ask you, hello, how are you, what are you doing? But you're not compelled because he doesn't have reasonable suspicion. Right, what he's doing is he's following up on a call. And I'm not I'm just telling you the policy. Right. Under their use of force guidelines, that's that elbow room and latitude when they write them that they give cops so they can get away with that and not get charged.
It's based on what you were saying was him giving him lawful orders, and it was an unlawful order because he didn't have RAS.
So wait, I understand that. He's gonna. I understand that, but what he's gonna say is, I gave him a lawful order to stop, right? Which he did. I understand what you mean. I wanted to talk to him. He ignored me. He's acting erratic. He's flailing his hands. I went over because I don't know what's going to happen. He could be a danger. So I go over and now I'm putting hands on him. That's how, and under their use of force policy, he'll get away with it.
Yeah, just like when they say they're in fear for their safety, like Dr. Sean Berry said. Shout out to the doc.
Officer safety.
What were you going to say, Brian?
Well, I want to say that we're watching the video. We haven't even gotten through the first minutes of their immediate interaction. And I hear you training policy use of force. We haven't covered the report yet. We're going to cover the report.
Oh,
so let's.
I can only imagine.
Stop. Relax. I'm going home.
Relax, or I'm going to have to change the situation.
Dude, hey,
relax.
Sir, can you please? No, we don't want to do this, all right? Leave me alone. No, we're gonna. First off, you guys started to arrest me, and I was stopping my music to listen. Now let go of me. Get over the. Let's get over the grass. Okay. We're gonna lay you down. Okay, come on. Now, I'm gonna be arrested. I intend to take my power back. And I intend to be. We're going with them, okay? I intend to be. Stop, dude. Oh, okay.
Ah, Jesus Christ.
Stop, dude. You got him? stop here. All right, we got it. Yep, we got it. Yep. No, I get. Let go of your arms, dude.
The thing you're going to hear for a second here is, oh, he went for your gun. He went for your gun. Whether we can't tell because all the body cameras are in the wrong direction. They're not placed on the uniforms correctly.
No.
And we've dressed these cops up a variety of times. I can't wait to talk about that. These cops, they don't wear their body cameras correctly.
I mean, they pulled a gun on a doctor at his own building. They're the ones who like lightly went hesitantly hands-on with the kid who shut up a movie theater. This is the same Aurora PD that has like committed stupid level 6 reaction to level 1 behavior over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah,
Liberty Freak and Eric.
Yeah, he wants this cop. He's a badge-heavy John Wayne type, and he goes out there and treats everybody like they're pieces of garbage. You already know by the way he just talks to people. But he comes back, and when he writes his little report, he's probably going to say thought he wouldn't obey. They gave him a lawful order. He looked suspicious. Looked like he had a weapon on him. All the bullshit he's going to be able to put on that report, the Walt Disney, he's going to be able to put on there, which gives him, under their policy.
Can you hear this okay?
Huh?
Okay.
Straddling, figure 4 legs.
It's hard to watch. Jesus Christ.
If the viewers don't want to see it, I can understand.
It's horrible.
He literally says, "Why are you doing this to me?"
I heard you snoring. I just don't like. I'm just different.
I'm just different.
That's all.
That's all.
It was actually Rosenberg.
Oh, this is sad, man.
I have no gun. I don't do that stuff. I don't do any fighting.
That's disgusting.
I don't do any fighting.
I don't do guns. I don't even kill flies. I don't eat meat.
Sorry, Carol. It's necessary. It's a subject today. This murder.
I try to live a secret.
When we showed him up, he was wearing
and I just think all
walking something.
You hear me?
Yeah.
All I was trying to do was become better.
We started it because he reached for Rose's gun.
Look, he's making an alibi right now. You hear him? That's his alibi. Yeah. He's telling us.
Yep.
All life, I do sacrifice my identity. I'll do it.
I'll do it. He's submitting. They still don't. They're not satisfied.
That's fine.
This is horrible. I'm sorry.
It's catastrophic.
Brian,
it's horrible.
This is not it though. There's more, and more is where the paramedics showed up, and they're culpable as well.
So I don't know. I mean, like,
what's the meat and potatoes of the finding?
We can get it over with, but the reality is that the report is a scathing report.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is read the outline to see the drama.
Yeah, I've got the report. I got everything.
Play this damn video. Let's get through it. Let's get through this video. People need to know.
Oh, that really hurt.
You are beautiful, and I love you. I just can't breathe.
Oh,
can you put that up there, please?
That's horrible.
Pierre F said it.
Yeah. I'm looking for it.
Can't.
I'm looking for it. Who said it?
Pierre F. P-E-I-R.
Oh, Pier. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thank you, Pier.
Those were Elijah's words.
Right here. And nothing happened to these cops.
You see how horrible this is?
Stop.
Imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's vomiting. He's in handcuffs. He's been choked out with a corduroy. You know, they take it.
Oh.
He's in handcuffs and vomiting, and the ambulance hasn't even arrived yet.
No, he went for his gun.
Oh my God.
What?
Yeah, they're telling the story, right?
Yeah, they're doing an alibi. That's exactly what they're doing. It's an alibi.
Does anybody have sandy wipes? All right,
Everyone's getting their story straight.
Yeah.
You can bend his knees a little bit.
They're all gonna talk. They all get to communicate before they write their story. You know that, right?
Not this time.
I'm not missing mine. Are you missing yours? Yours in the car, right?
Yeah, I see Crash Landon also. One got fired for laughing. Photo making fun of his death. Somebody.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, there's that picture, and you know they reproduced it, right? They went back to the same site and reproduced what happened here. It's not only did they walk away and didn't have any remorse, they didn't walk home and be like, "Oh man, that was a bad bust," and I contributed to that kid's death. Oh my God! They went back and they thought they got a kick out of it. It's not just cops; these are the scum of the earth. These are scumbags that get attracted to that job because they want to have power over people. So they get the badge and they go there and they get to do it because the other people who are trying to maybe do their job right are looking the other way, and you're leaving it up to us to try to find these guys, and you're covering for them.
This is the mentality. When something like this happens, they'll go, well, the police came to his house 5 years ago for a disturbance, so he was up to no good anyway. Probably was going to. That's how they justify. I'm telling you, that's how they justify abusing people. Yeah,
and the reality is that we're not even there yet. You're about to get pissed off.
Yeah.
Cell
He's
phone
vomiting
now.
now. Poor guy.
Is it an iPhone?
What kind of drugs did you take? Red case?
No.
What kind of drugs did you take tonight? What kind of drugs did you take tonight?
Something that makes me feel
good, brother.
horrible is.
Can you find sandy wipes for me somewhere, please?
Is that
anybody?
When somebody dies, if they suffered before their death, that makes it worse.
Right. What drugs were you on? We tackled you because we just walked up to you and arrested you for no probable cause.
Here you go.
We're gonna get there. What drugs were you on? What drugs were you on?
Yeah.
You're talking about how strong he was.
It was recording. I just shut it off because it's split in half. So something fell out right here on the grass, but I don't know what it was.
It probably looks like anger.
I'm gonna do some drugs.
Can I throw up, dude?
Yeah.
Throw up right there, okay? Don't throw up on me, though.
We got fire coming, right?
Fucking asshole.
I called him when he first went out.
And I don't think he went out, dude.
He like halfway, I think. But hey, dude, relax.
I think he's trying to pee.
Oh, okay.
Relax.
Get it out, dude.
Yeah, this is so relaxing. Oh, we lost the Stone Sailor for a second. Hold on.
Get it out.
There we go.
All right, I'm back. See, me, I couldn't live with myself if I did that to another human being, or if I stood by and watched someone do it. I couldn't live with myself. I would end up blowing my own brains out.
Thanks for being here, Eric.
Probably just bring it over by him, dude. And then we contacted him. Green. He's wearing a ski mask. He started to kind of like walk away from us. So
he's wearing a ski mask.
And then in the midst of them wrapping him up, pushing him against the wall right here, he reached for Rosie's gun, dude. So
there you go. Okay. That's it.
Dude, stay on your side.
He reached for the gun.
Yep.
legs locking up.
There you go. Just like that.
You're good.
Don't get up, dude.
Officer safety, and he reached for my gun. I reasonably believed that my life was in danger. That's it.
I think we're okay for here. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Carol.
Right,
For clearing that up.
You got a mask on. I know that. I did that.
What a difference 1 year makes when it comes to who is wearing a mask.
Don't do it, dude.
Yeah.
Relax, bro. Come
Chill
on.
out.
You already lost this one. Just relax.
You already lost this one.
Yeah, like it's a friggin' like it's a wrestling match, a boxing match.
Dude.
It's MMA.
Oh, we missed the part where they said when paramedics or when fire gets here, we're going to have them give him ketamine.
He speaks to English.
I'm sorry. Should I go back? He just
No,
said that.
I don't think so, but they did say it, and it's a key factor that I want Rob to I wanted Rob to know.
I believe you.
Chill out.
If anybody
You've already
doubts
been
that, go
told
back and
several
watch it
times,
yourself.
Stop.
I can't fix myself. Ow.
Because they actually say when fire gets here, we're going to have them inject him with ketamine.
So that's premeditation under the law.
Stop.
We had a suspicious call over here on
Dude,
Bill.
chill out.
He's got a mask on his face. That's kind of weird. Nothing really criminal. My officers go to get contact with him.
Nothing criminal.
Chill out. I want to put my nuts on your face. Chill out. That's like that's what it's figurative, but that's what they're doing. They want a teabag like a dog.
They actually say, if you don't chill, I'm gonna have the dog sick you while he's in handcuffs.
Yeah, cameras everywhere sent me a link to a channel that I've been watching. It's just body cams of them wasting people. It's so like depressing.
Now think about it. Think about this. I was a canine handler. Do you know if I threatened to stick my dog on someone, they would arrest me for like if it wasn't justified? If I threatened a prisoner or something like that, they would put me in jail. So why aren't that's a threat? I don't know why they don't prosecute him for a threat.
Yeah, you had a dog, and they always outrank you, right? The handler is outranked by the dog always. The dog is way more valuable to train than a person, and it's like you're under them.
And
in that
when
thing,
I got my canine, they said it in the military was you're a law enforcement officer. You never threaten anybody to stick your dog on them, a handcuffed prisoner. You never do any of that. You don't even threaten them because you will be charged. Because you
do it in this video.
Huh?
They do it in this.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's threatening to assault somebody. You know, the only time your dog bites is when you got justification.
Listen.
Is there anybody that can relieve me for a second? Spitz! Oh, we need somebody just to. You want to just get on for a second so I can get up? I'm like cramping up. Fucking.
Yeah. Because you got a use of force that didn't have to be that way.
I'm cramping up. Like,
I'm good.
Can somebody relieve me? I'm cramping up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
First off,
so he's walking away from us.
Just on the very minimal requirements.
Dude,
you shouldn't be doing this job if you're cramping up in the middle of it.
30 seconds of trying to calm him down. I'm like, dude, hey, not a big deal. We need to talk to you. And then he kept doing this, and he kept saying things that didn't make any sense.
Alibi.
Didn't make any sense. I'm an introvert. Don't touch me.
Yeah, it made perfect sense.
Right by the rocks. And then he starts going crazier, so we get him cornered against the wall.
What's he doing when he's acting crazy?
He's like saying stuff, and he's holding his arms in, and he's like, I don't remember exactly what he was saying right now, but he's acting really strange.
Randy, you needed relief, buddy?
Because
Randy, do you need relief? No, I'm good. I'm just gonna pat him down.
And then over there, Brody tells me to try to grab my gun, so we pull him down
while
so he pulls his arm free and comes out, and I don't remember feeling it because I was focused on him, but he said, "You trying to grab a gun?" So I'm like, okay, so he comes down and.
And I'm sorry.
Another cop told him that he was trying to grab his gun. He didn't even say he was trying to grab my gun. Another cop told me he was trying to get it.
Yeah, and the thing is like, is this the right time to be doing the rundown of what just happened? Shouldn't we be taking care of the person who is in our custody right now, who is vomiting and showing signs of like we already said he needs to be medicated for something. Like
that's
the
all by
whole
design.
rundown can wait for the report, or at least the after action report after they're done, you know. But right now that guy is there, and yeah, the paramedics just showed up and everything, but
you know why they're being cautious? They know they fucked up and they know they hurt somebody. They just don't know how bad it's going to be yet. So what they're doing is they know that was a bad arrest. They know that was a bad use of force. So they are staging their alibi. This is all strategically planned.
No, he just thought it was weird because he was wearing a mask.
Well, it is.
Gestures.
Yeah.
So
okay,
that's all.
Yeah. He was making these dance gestures with his headphones on while he was walking down the street.
Didn't I say that earlier? So Didn't I say that earlier? How they write, he's throwing his hands, he's flailing his arms. Didn't I say that earlier? To get PC? I mean, reasonable suspicion.
His neck, so I had to release because I was behind. It wasn't like.
So you went to put it on.
So it was more. It was like almost like a schoolboy trying to get a product backwards because that was the only position I had.
So this is just cops planning.
Relax, dude.
That's all of this is.
Yeah.
And
correct time dysfunction.
I could drop my knee right in this tricep.
More can we go back to that that table of contents?
What, the conversation that he just had?
The table of contents of the report. They're the rest of this video. I mean, basically, they're gonna inject him. They're gonna leave, and then the cops are gonna get told, "Hey, he crashed. He's dead," and they're gonna be like, "Oh my god," right? But here's the thing. We've already covered that this wasn't a Tory stop. There was no observation. They drove up on him, jumped out of the car, gave commands, grabbed hands on immediately. This was an arrest. In order to have an arrest, you must have what?
Reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime, right?
You need probable cause to arrest. Reasonable suspicion gets you probable cause. Oh, that's how it goes.
Right. So when we read this 157 page or we listen to the reports, the number one get off the go statement is there was no probable cause. The police had no right. They did not have the training to investigate, to observe, to roll down the street half a block away and watch the kid waving his arms as he's moving for a block to see that he's just walking down the street dancing, right? And so when we get to the second, I can't control it, but when we look at the timeline, there's the arrest, and then they arrive, and then they inject him. Is that page 2? Maybe of the
is it
there?
Now this whose findings are these?
So
this is an independent review board, the Citizens Review Board that the city of Denver.
Right. Okay. So the city of Aurora, the city council, they said we want an independent panel. They hired a cop, a medic, and a paramedic. Right. So there was a report given. The medical professional said, "I could not believe what happened here," and this is it here. 5 officers twice apply cardioid control holds to Mr. McClain in rapid succession. They handcuff him. They restrain him. Number 7, right? McClain says, "I can't breathe," and then the Aurora fire arrives on scene. The next thing after they arrive is they administer ketamine.
They didn't do anything in between those 2 steps. And isn't that what the medic said is like baffling?
No examination.
Yeah.
No medical profile. No understanding of the condition of the patient.
So when you said that the cop said, we'll tell them to give him ketamine first, that's just like that's the setup for this. This is just exactly
premeditation.
Yeah,
premeditation, and
yeah,
so
that's exactly what he did. He premeditated this.
Yeah.
Now the Citizen Review Board comes out with this. Well, what happens? They are not fired.
Well, so
they're not charged.
No. As a matter of fact,
was there a grand jury convened?
The state is still having its investigation. This citizen review was not allowed to interview the officers. They were not allowed to question them in any way, shape, or form. But there's some things that are coming out. So we believe. So first of all, there's a state. There's a way. The Colorado Department of Public Health is issuing waivers to hospitals and medical boards so that they can have a legal authority to utilize ketamine to begin with, right? Then there's this training, and you have to calculate, and Eric's just said it. They estimated his weight at 190 pounds. He was 120. There's another guy that we know that's been injected. He was 270. They said, well, he's 190 pounds. We think that the 190 pounds is a training guideline, right? Here's how much you use at 190 pounds. So they always just say, oh, it must be 190 pounds. We're going to use this much.
Wow.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Okay.
Disgusting.
Let me ask you a question. Did they get his driver's license off of him eventually?
I believe
his
they
ID?
did. Yeah.
So
because it's ID that said that how much he weighed.
They didn't check his medical history.
They didn't do it before they injected him.
That's what I'm saying. I'm wondering. So they got his weight off of his driver's license?
No,
they just guesstimated. They
just looked at him and said, "Oh, you're 190 pounds."
No, and I'm just asking because if they had his driver's license on it, why wouldn't they just look at that and go, "Here, his driver's license says he's 150."
Well, that's part of what this panel said. Now, as we know, the panel said a bunch of things. So let me just get some of it out so we can just call.
I know you think. I know you must think. Well, where's he coming from with this question? But details matter and things like this.
All of the details matter, right?
Yeah.
So the police did not do a Tory stop. They didn't arrest. They did not do any investigation. They had a person in handcuffs who was vomiting that they choked out once or twice where he passed out. And then the paramedics, the fire show up. They are instructed to give ketamine. They failed to do a medical examination. They have no identification of who the human being is. They don't even know the person's name, if he's got a wallet on him, anything before they inject him. They had a blood pressure pulse machine on site, and they didn't use it. They gave, as again, Mr. Brandt, thank you. There's a cap on how much.
This is a team effort, man.
Where's Frank Sturgill? Did somebody call Frank and tell him to come to the show? I meant to, because this is Frank's area. Frank Sturgill's been doing Cora demands.
They wanted to get that ketamine in him as soon as possible because they wanted him under they wanted him under what do you call it? Friggin', high as a kite. So then they can get their story together. Yeah, of course. They just did. Of course. Here's the thing. Since when does paramedics take orders from the police department on what medicines to give?
They're not even doctors.
Yeah.
They're right.
Not even paramedics. You would think a medic would show up and go, okay, I got this. He's handcuffed. Let me see, blah, 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 do everything. I can't believe it. They're telling the EMS, yeah, give him ketamine. I'm Dr. Police Officer, so you give him ketamine. That's crazy.
Hey, let me take a minute to say what's up to Press On and Lady Justice Liberty Press. Thank you for being out there. Press On is just making his way through, well, I say Press On. The people, one of the people is making his way through life across the country, back and forth, up and down. I hope you make it back where you started from and stop by here, man. And Lady Justice, thanks for having his back too. That's cool. So again, Finterrupter here at your service.
You're good. You're good. Yeah. The thing is that you're bringing up all the right points, right? The idea is that, and the report says, the paramedics, when they arrive, they have all this technology they're supposed to be utilizing. They don't utilize it. They take orders from the cops, right? I heard a story the other day about a cop or about a paramedic who did not save somebody's life because the police officer said, oh, that person just committed a robbery. Don't help them. Turns out they were just an innocent bystander. And like, that's what we're pissed about when it comes to like George Floyd, Mike Brown, right? I mean, you can't just leave. If you shoot somebody as a cop, then when the paramedics come there, they're there to fix your fuck up or whatever. You shot a person. Now we have to save their life because you're not the judge. You're not the jury. You're not the executioner. And in this case, by instructing the paramedics to give Elijah McClain ketamine, the Aurora police officers acted as executioners.
Yeah, and premeditated murder is what they did.
Yeah, and then
you know what? Like? This is just, in my opinion, this is just as bad as the George Floyd incident. Why it didn't get the kind of coverage, I think, because George Floyd
was around the same time.
It was around the same time, and
actually, the story came to light around the same time, right?
Right. It actually happened like
a year before that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, so their departments, are they still on the job, except for the one that got fired for smiling in a picture? That low life.
So I want to say that.
Sorry.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I want to show you this real quick.
I do believe that 2 of the 3 are still working.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's my understanding. That only one quit.
Okay,
fired.
so the two that are working, they had to have gone through some type of departmental review or disciplinary action.
Okay, so 175-page report.
Okay.
Oh, this is a good one.
Look at this. This is a minute long. Watch this. This is what they did because, like Brian mentioned, Elijah would go to the shelter, the animal shelter, and play violin to calm the animals. So during the protests this last summer, right, they had a violin vigil in honor of Elijah.
So let me lay this out just real quickly. So there was the Aurora Municipal Building, the police department, the library. They're all in the same plaza.
Yeah.
There's a location that they put up a new fence. The police department did to block access to their property or whatever, the police department. And so that's the gathering point for protests. There's multiple protests scheduled this day, an early vigil, a march that comes back. And we
are
actually,
so fair. Brian is making the copsplanation about why they would dress up in riot gear to stop a violin vigil, because you're awesome, man. You're playing devil's advocate against your own thing, and just to be fair, because we don't bullshit people here. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for the integrity.
Absolutely. I want to be clear about it because there was a whole day of action. It was like 7 hours scheduled protest. And we took the streets, right? We went on a march and we came back to the vigil.
How many days straight were you out there?
Over 120 since George Floyd has been killed.
Thank you.
120 continuous days.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much.
So, thank you. In this event, these riot cops are dressed up because the people are at the gate, the fence to the police department that they put up, and they're yelling at the cops. There may be water. There may be some empty water bottles, or maybe even some full ones being tossed. But the cops are there because of the not the violin attendees, but the people who are yelling for the firing of Randy McDermott and his cohorts who killed Elijah McClain. They're demanding the termination of these officers, and this is the response.
But isn't this a peaceful buffer zone in between the cops in their riot gear and the people who may be acting a little unruly, but not really enough to necessitate an entire riot gear squad?
Well, let's see what the video tells us.
Yeah.
Peace! Peace! Peace!
Look at that. Does that look like out of control?
No.
There are a lot of people there.
Oh, I'm standing right at this guy's feet. You might even see me in the video.
Oh.
I like that song.
Yeah.
See the cops in riot gear?
Look at this. Look how they show up like stormtroopers. And I know it's how they're supposed to, but why wouldn't they move over to the other side where there was people who they... I don't know, man. Why would they be there at all? Let the protest happen. It's our First Amendment right.
It doesn't look like America to me.
Nah. That's a nice little video. This guy actually jumps on the back of the truck, plugs the amplifiers in, and starts playing because the police are pushing the entire gathering into the parking lot. This is
look at this guy.
This
You've
is a
seen
good
this
one.
guy, right?
Yeah.
Check this out. Look at his face.
Let me see
what?
hands. What are you doing?
You're on my property. Leave.
Stay in the car.
No.
This guy has his
You're in my
gun
property.
drawn. He had his car parked in front of the exit.
Medical facility.
So,
yeah.
so the doctor was driving in through the exit, which is, not what you would do if it was business hours and if there were cars leaving and if it wasn't his own damn property, right? And this cop was there just chilling, like skating, sucking on the teat, getting, paid to skate back there. And this doctor comes in to move some Boy Scout equipment, and the cop goes immediately to draw his freaking gun on him. And
this is what
he didn't even write a supervisor report, which you're supposed to do according to their
anytime you draw your weapon, yes.
Yeah. So listen.
Get off it now.
This is what I tell you guys.
Look at the you can tell when somebody's really stupid. Look at him.
If he tried to throw himself on the ground, he'd probably miss.
I didn't know it was your property.
Please leave the property now.
Okay, well,
You're trespassing. There's signs that say trespassing.
what? I'm not trespassing on your
Please
property.
leave the property. I got stuff to do. Come on.
This is a crash test dummy football player that couldn't make it in college.
Pretty much. Let's watch that one another time. Let's get back to Elijah's story.
No, it's
just we're highlighting the incompetence of the Aurora PD and how they're just like that guy was just a dummy and his dummy face. I had to show it.
Well, I wish you could show the Liberty Freak Eric Brandt episode.
Who?
Where,
I never heard of him. I'm just
cop
kidding.
walked down the street and it was a big scene.
Yeah, what happened? Give us a synopsis.
Essentially, the cop pulled him over. He says, you just pulled me. They tried to say, that'll cut the snipers on his high-powered lens camera, showing the lasers. Yes, that did happen, didn't it, Eric? at that protest with the violence. Otto had lasers on him. It was pretty intense. No, Abity and Eric were driving down the road. They flipped off a cop. The cop pulled them over, drew all this attention. You know, you don't lie on why you pulled us over. We have it on camera. You know, we flipped you off. You retaliated. Yeah. This is Aurora. They're violent. They're thuggish, and this go up just a little bit right here between. It's
like the Pritchard of Colorado. But
yeah.
Go up a little bit, you said?
Yeah, just a little bit. So right there. So Aurora Fire arrives on the scene, and then they administer ketamine. That's a key factor to this because they did no medical examination. Yeah. So as you scroll back down, the investigation is the next thing there, letter B, and you're gonna love this because when you investigate yourself, you ask yourself questions in a way that gives you the answers you need to hear from yourself to make sure that you know you were doing the right thing at all times. And the independent panel said, absolutely, internal investigations, the detectives on scene, whoever it was, that were the commanding officers, the investigation they led was a charade.
Yes, like they usually are. And
now,
for like to go back to Gulfport, like to see the people who are in charge of investigating all the agencies in our state to be pulling some of the most basic shenanigans, it's just like, here we go, folks. The people, like the embodiment of we investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing and exonerated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm sorry to laugh, but you have to. Did you see the Eric Brandt video? It's called "The Tale of a Fingered Piggy."
No. Let me see. Is that the link that I just put up in the highlight? Hold on.
Probably. You have to just
give me a second. All right.
Yeah.
Set it up.
So was that cop, the arresting officer, was he fired?
For laughing at a picture, mocking.
Okay, so but he
not
cleared
for the initial infraction of murdering the kid, but for making fun of it.
So basically, he was cleared through a departmental investigation of the shooting. I mean, of the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is how it's done. And I wanted to tell you guys, use of force. The levels, the continuums are different in different police departments, sheriff's departments. The feds do another use of force continuum. There's no standardization. And these local police chiefs and local sheriffs, they get to write their own use of force continuum, which allows their cops enough room to get out of shit.
Yeah,
if they standardize the use of force across the board, and had one standardized system that all the police followed, state, city, county, local, federal, you would have less of these problems.
Rob, are you familiar with the term excited delirium?
Excited utterance? Excited delirium. Oh, delirium? Is there a certain amount of reaction they give you to do something if you're attacked or something?
Song?
Huh?
No, that's Titanium. Sorry.
No.
Go ahead, tell me.
So excited delirium is the mental and physical state that one exhibits that would allegedly give a paramedic cause to inject ketamine.
You know what? I know of another excited type of delirium, but it's not in those contexts. It's in a law enforcement context
So, okay. So if somebody is like really flipping out and stuff, that's like they're in what you've seen, their protocol to go ahead and give somebody that, because we have we have somebody in our community whose brother was not given life-saving measures when they met him. He was on the phone, and 15 minutes later, they showed up and said that they didn't do the life-saving measures because he had rigor mortis set in. And, that takes more than 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Shout out to Cookie, the inspector. Thank you for all you do for everybody in our community. And I hope we get justice for your brother. May he rest in peace someday.
Definitely. So excited delirium is their probable cause to give you ketamine, basically.
Essentially, that is the terminology. Frank Sturgill has joined us. And you can push play. This is slightly hilarious.
Yeah,
and we'll just give you an example of Aurora's assaultive behaviors.
Should I skip that eating?
All right.
Look at that finger right there. And that shirt, that's Eric. That's Eric Brand. I know it. And this is the body cam of the Chips guy. That's so cool that you put the Chips music to it. That's Chips.
Pull in there. Fuck you!
Oh, man. He's one of a kind, man.
Pull in there. Fuck you.
He's got a busted windshield, too.
He does. But he couldn't have known that when he was being yelled at.
See, I notice little things, man. I'm a detailed dude. I notice things. Yep.
I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you people. I just want to flip off the police. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Exercising our First Amendment rights, sir.
This guy knows. He's like, oh shit, it's this guy.
What are you doing pulling us over? Give me your card.
No, I don't believe I have to give you my license, sir. I have not committed an infraction.
You didn't? Look at your windshield, man.
Huh?
Windshield. Oh, and you saw that.
Oh, and you saw that from behind.
They don't let him in. Brazilian soccer team goalies, they don't let one by, man. They're like, well, unless you're German.
Listen, sir.
I don't think you know how this is going to work.
Yeah, you have no idea how this is going to work, and we're just suggesting right now. No, you don't. We're suggesting right now, man, just like let it go.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Just let it go, man. We flipped you off. Have a nice day. Right?
Look at the phones.
Is that what you're doing?
Oh. So what we're missing while we're laughing our asses off here is Frank Sturgill talking about excited delirium in the chat.
Say again?
And what we're missing while we're laughing our asses off here is Frank Sturgill talking about excited delirium in the chat.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. We need to laugh a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can keep playing it, maybe the volume down a little bit. They get a whole amount of police officers to come to the scene. Excessive use of force.
Please, y'all, go watch that. But, before the show, you and I spoke for a little bit, and we talked about maintaining a reverence over the subject. And absolutely, we have to.
We do.
Please go check out this video. And I'm definitely gonna watch it again. That was hilarious.
It's definitely a good video.
Was murdered, and let's stay focused here.
Yeah. Thank you. It's important to recognize that you watch the video, you see it, hands on immediately, no just cause for
nothing. No, it wasn't.
None of it. What this has opened up, though, and this is the thing that I think is of national importance, is what Frank Sturgill is doing in the research. We have in the state of Colorado, like all states, public records laws.
Yeah.
Laws that give the citizens the ability to look at what our government is doing and make sure that they're doing it in a way that is appropriate.
Yeah.
And what we have found out is that when it comes to giving people ketamine, they have fucked this up so bad.
I lagged out for a little bit, so I missed some of what you said. If you were telling me
Have they ever cited an example of excited delirium or given a definition of what excited delirium is?
I think Frank is going to say no to that. He is our official. He's our official expert. But no,
I have excited delirium every time I have sex, and they're not shooting me up with ketamine.
I mean, my wife makes some good pancakes too. That's like excitable, and
there you go. I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I see people feeding the homeless, and that gives me an excited delirium.
We were talking about that too, and
people
I've said
go
it
to church.
before in my other streams. You guys might hear me repeat this a few more times after this, but if you ever feel down or crummy, go out and do something kind for someone. It'll make you both feel better. It's the best high, I think. You could say, "Oh, but I'm a runner. I like running." Fuck running. I have a car. I'll drive to go and help somebody else.
Yeah, take the bus, whatever, walk there. If that's what it takes, run to the homeless with your wagon of food. I think the one that's more important is up further than that, right? It says that there are definitions of excited delirium. No proof has ever been given. Not in the table of contents in the chat. Okay. Eric Brandt is talking about the fact that there has never been a clinical study on a living human being in regards to excited delirium. Frank Sturgill is talking about this in the chats as well. Supposedly out of control so badly, they're in danger to themselves and everyone around them. There's some other demands to it.
All right. I get it. And now I understand. Like, they're trying to say, oh, this person did something and now they're like the invisible man. They're just going around and because of the chemical that they injected themselves in, they're so dangerous and like powerful. Because I heard somebody saying like Elijah's arm was raised up and it took like 3 of us to bring it down or something like that. Like,
yes, that's the kind of thing that they kept saying. Oh, he's so strong. He's got excess energy. He must be on drugs, right?
120 pounds. I mean, I was 120 pounds when I was in boot camp and was lean, mean, Marine Corps green and stuff. But I think, that's a different thing. Like, I could fight off 2 guys, but it would be a lot of work. These cops and this kid wasn't like training, he was playing violin. He's not that strong.
Well, but if you think about the muscle memory, and I know because 120 days of filming straight, my arm, my shoulder muscles, right? There's some things that are different than before this happened. So I can imagine that if I was playing the fiddle or the violin or
true.
You're gonna.
There's also that kid. Like, if you ever see those arm wrestling competition stuff, there's like some Russian or Bulgarian kid who they call the student or something because he's just got a pair of glasses like this and he looks like a regular kid, but he arm wrestles with people like it's like me and Rob if we were to arm wrestle. Look at Rob.
Yeah.
I think let's do it next time we meet up, Rob. Arm wrestle.
Let's do it. It's a deal. It's a deal, man. That's why I always the use of force needs to be standardized across the board, so that way they can't get away with shit like that.
Exactly, like the
But
military
under this Aurora, I would love to see their use of force continuum. I would love to see that for the police department. I know that's public record, so I would love to see someone FOIA. What's your use of force continuum? And I'd like to see what they have.
I think that the Aurora policies are going to be changing soon. When we get into what I think you're looking at, the recommendations, it is absolutely clear that they said basically your cops don't know how to be cops. They don't know how to calmly show up to a scene in a low crime area where the call says no crime is known to have occurred.
Yes.
Right? And they have said the fire department, the paramedics, the police department, everybody, you all have catastrophic failures, from the failure to take control of the scene and assess a patient, to recognizing that somebody is not out of control if they're handcuffed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right?
When they're under restraints, they're under restraints. They're under control. That's why they're controlled restraints. That's exactly what they are. And also, I would love to see their use of force policy the day this happened. I would love to see that.
If somebody's in cuffs in the backseat of a car and they start kicking the inside of the car, is it okay for you to tase the shit out of them 5 times?
Are you destroying? Depends on your use of force. And are they destroying government property? Are they destroying property by kicking the inside of the car and breaking the windshield? Then some departments, yes.
Because they just had a big old ordeal about that. There was a guy who tased some guy who wasn't really doing much, but he was just kicking it, and he tased it.
Yeah, it depends on their use of force policy. It depends on the department. I mean, you pull them out, you put leg restraints on them then, because every car has leg restraints in it too. If that's what you got to. But just by me assessing a second with that kid, I knew that he was probably a special needs kid. And I just knew from hearing his voice
immediately. Again, going back to the protocol question, is it really that bad? Like, even in protocol, can't you just use your discretion and be like, oh, okay, let's go hands off on this kid? Because,
absolutely.
Hey, look,
absolutely.
Sit down, kid. I'm sorry I got you upset. But look, I got a call because somebody's saying you're acting weird. That's how they could have saved his life instead of taking it.
And you know what that's called?
Shout out to Fellow Kid. He just showed up. What's up,
know what it's called? You know what it's called? It's called having compassion and respecting the public. And it's also working smarter, not harder. Because who wants to work with a guy that just pounces on everybody? Then you got to do a report, use of force report, arrest report, just because this asshole just couldn't say, hey, man, do you live around here? We get a call. I don't know. There's people are saying you might be lost or something. I'm Officer Farlow. I just want to check on you. I'm not here to harass you or nothing.
I gotta say also, right? I just got some body cam footage. Of I was talking to the St. Pete police officer about you, Rob. I told him, look, man, we're not out here looking for trouble or anything. I got this guy who's a veteran and a former federal law enforcement officer, and he understands. He gets it. I'm gonna put that in the next video.
Thank you.
It's just like, if you're a liar, you got to keep up with your lies. If you're a law enforcement officer watching this, you got to keep up with those people. Just like a lie. Stop it. Stop them. Help us get off your back. I'll go back to my family, my 2 kids. I'll go back to my profession. I'll start farming, and I'll leave you alone if you start doing the job that I felt compelled to do. Okay, please.
Absolutely.
I'm in a supplicant manner talking to you, officer. What the fuck? Knuckle fuck, whatever.
Knuckle fuck and Fuckleberries.
Fuck knuckle.
Yeah.
You,
fuck
you,
knuckle
sir.
Too.
Like I said, These cops that just jump on people, of course, you know what? The cops that walk and they talk and they de-escalate, a lot of times we're called hug-a-thugs and shit like that. You know that? They used to call me that all the time.
Right? Yeah, Mr. Hug-a-thug.
Yeah, they used to call me that all the time.
Name, right?
And I'm just like,
God, love America so much, and then that's the hypocritian in them. They'll go back and they'll say that they love America.
And you know what? Every time they would deal with somebody, it was always beat them up first, question, whatever. Always use of force. Always John Wayne shit. And then they're like, "Oh, I hurt my knee when I took that guy down. I hurt my this." I'm like, "Yeah, you're a fool. They're not paying you $1 million to fight like an MMA fighter, and you're out here tackling people when you could just talk to them." I'm like, "You're the biggest fucking fool around." I used to tell them.
You scraped your elbow, right? Look at your hand. That guy had AIDS. You have AIDS.
Paperwork, investigations, just because you just want to be an asshole. It's like that guy, square peg, round hole, and he's like, "No, you're going to make me do it." Instead of go, "Okay, square peg, let me go get a square peg, turn this thing easy, and let's keep it rolling."
And there's so many of those people murdering people, and that's why we're doing this. And they murdered this kid. They murdered this.
They're murdering a lot of people.
Yeah.
And what we as civilians have to recognize is that this drug, ketamine, takes away your control of yourself. Without being convicted of any crime, you're being punished. You're being criminalized because you're losing control of your body. You lose control of your mind, right? And so there's possibly some long-term implications in the constitutionality, in the use of it. But in order to get there, we have to expose it. And it's disgusting to me that Frank Sturgill is finding all this out, but that Elijah McClain had to die because he was walking down the street, and untrained cops are so accustomed to having their way that
and
they
it's
were
not just them, the paramedics also.
I would, you know what? If I was teaching again, if I was teaching again, this would be the first video I would show every class before I would start.
That's a good way to put it, Eric. And you know, the first time I went cop watching, it was with channel Lightning Dave. You guys might know Lightning Dave from his 100-yard, videos. But I went out with him, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm not gonna videotape that. That woman's being taken into an ambulance." And I'm like, "Yeah, but there's a bunch of cops there, and she's screaming in pain." So I feel I don't want to put somebody. It's my first time out. Excuse me. I don't want to put somebody's medical info out there or anything. But if she's under their control and being restrained by these cops, I want to make sure they don't break her arm because they're being too rough. I want to make sure they don't kill her, like they killed this kid. So when people say, like, "Oh, are you going to go there and report a rape victim talking about her rape and stuff?" I'm sorry, I have to, because what if that turns out to be a false report? Don't you want to see her making that false report and find that the kid was innocent and then have something showing that she did that false report?
Yeah, sure.
It's going to be objective to a point. We become subjective when the cops throw us into the story. I don't want to be in your story. Just don't mind me. Act like I'm not here. If you're watching, Officer Knucklefuck, act like I'm not here. Act like none of us are here and behave the way the fuck you're supposed to.
Yeah, it's sad. I just had
if you don't like being filmed, find another job. That's it.
Another job. And if you can't take me yelling at you, you should quit your job. I literally had the commander of District 6 yesterday said, "I like Brian. He doesn't yell at me as much as he used to. We get along now." Motherfucker.
You know we're going to get along when you quit. When you quit and you start standing shoulder to shoulder with me saying we need a systematic change. You know, we need to stop this.
Beneath that tough guy exterior, beneath that tough guy exterior is a very fragile ego. Trust me.
Yeah.
Well, fragile ego these guys have.
Let's move on because it's midnight here on the East Coast, and Brian has a lot of ground to cover. So this is the body-worn camera footage interviews, the observations and analysis about the medical decision-making. Now, the errors in medical decision-making, something that I saw in your coverage of this when I was watching it the other day, you and Eric both covered the findings. One of the panel members, was that who was in the video when she was talking about if you put yourself in the scenario of you hear the call, right?
Let's talk about it. Implicit bias. So we're just going to close our eyes for a second, and we're going to imagine that we're dispatch officers, or like we're at a phone call dispatch center, and we call somebody and we say, there's a 911, there's a heart attack happening. Okay, that's all you know to start with. 911 heart attack. And then you say that's at a nursing home. Think about the person.
Heart attack at a nursing home.
Huh?
Heart attack at a nursing home.
Yeah, think about the person that is probably having a heart attack at a nursing home. And what you're not seeing is a 40-year-old grandmother in a bikini, right? That was not your picture.
Right.
Right. It was an older person. Depending on your gender, they were probably skin colored of your ancestry, right? Your lineage. You might have thought about your grandfather or your grandmother, depending on a relationship. Right? That's the mental thing. Now, if you hear about paramedics being needed at a bar for a heart attack or something like that, you might picture that 40-year-old grandma in a bikini out at the pool, having sunstroke, being out in the sun too long or whatever, right? Different mentality.
Yeah.
Implicit bias. And so that's one of the first issues that we have, is that when we have a call.
Yeah, it's a heart attack. Do you see if it's a heart attack at the nursing home versus a heart attack at the bar versus a heart attack at the gym? Okay. What are you picturing? What you're picturing is wrong, because all you know is that it's a heart attack. It could have been an 85-year-old lady at the gym who was just working too much. It could have been a 25-year-old granddaughter at the nursing home who just contracted COVID or something, and she's having a heart attack. All these things are because they want to show you that there's so many factors, so many things that you have to take into account before you start treating someone. And the United States fails at that miserably in our medical assessment of like being able to formulate a diagnosis on a patient, because we are not like Switzerland. If you go to Switzerland, you break your arm, they're going to ask you how you've been feeling lately. Oh, did you throw yourself on the ground because you want to take some mood-altering medicines? They're going to take everything into account, not just, oh, you broke your arm? Just another lucky break. Here, take this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Oh, shit, they're a chemical-dependent person, and we just fueled their fire. That's horrible. You know, you have to think pragmatically when you're treating a person. A lot of things. Another thing, and this is a little bit off topic, is like I said, you treat a bone, you break a bone, you put a cast on it, right? But a lot of people, Brian, you told me you do your activism to get out of your own head, right? You have to take time for Brian. And everybody watching this, you got to take time for you, because if something traumatic happened to you, whenever, wherever in your life, you have to take that time to put the cast on your mind, not just a broken bone, but your mind needs help too. And you have to create an inner dialogue and get yourself to feel better. And the best way to do that is like what this guy's doing, get out of yourself by helping others. And once you get into a swing of it, it becomes a lot easier. It's the exact opposite of being a liar, like we were talking about. You have to keep up with your lies. When you can fake it till you make it to be a good person, fake it till you make it to be a good person. You don't think you're a good person? My grandmother used to be able to find the good in you and show you it. Then you become a good person. You keep practicing. You hang out with good people, doing good things. It's super easy. And you get to this where you're fighting for other people's rights regardless of your own feelings. That's patriotism. To be a patron to your fellow citizen. Than being a father to your other like Americans or wherever you are in the world.
It starts at home, right? And it starts, and that's the thing, because it doesn't matter if you're a officer on a beat, a paramedic on a beat, if you're an activist, if you're a baker, a candlestick maker, it doesn't really matter. It's the relationship that you have. It's the interactions. And so when you have cops who come off with this macho, tough guy, jump on you attitude, they're not in relationships. They're not going to be good for the health and the welfare of a community. And that's, the whole summer of 2020 has been this, what are cops doing? Why are we interacting with people in a mentality of violence first? And when we look at using ketamine, I don't know about you, but I did ketamine once 20 years ago.
Oh.
When I did it, I was clearly under the understanding that this drug is a horse tranquilizer.
Wow.
Right? Matter of fact, we might have gotten it because of veteran, whatever, right? Veterinarian, not a veteran.
Please watch the Ali G show where he goes to a veterinarian who also happens to be a veteran. It's my favorite Ali G skit, and it's so hilarious because he cracks the guy's head open. He goes, "So how come there were so many sick animals in Vietnam?" It's hilarious, dude.
Hey, we got to say hi to Kim London, huh? Thank you for
yes, that's VetTech Kimmy. Thank you, BTK. I appreciate you. You don't have to, but I appreciate it.
I see so many friends on here. Lone Wolf Audit News, Miami Beach audits, cameras everywhere. The reality is that the cameras everywhere is what's exposing this. The Quora is a good question, Miami Beach audits. And maybe it's because we have marijuana and psilocybin. Because we have both of those, right? In Colorado, you can have, in Denver at least, you can have some mushrooms, and
that's my next venture.
What's that?
Psilocybin mushrooms.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I'm gonna try those. I hear they're great for PTSD.
Oh, they're amazing.
I know a guy who is an inventor. The guy is not just a crackpot inventor. He invented a trailer hitch system that most people use if you have a trailer hitch, and well, not trailer hitch, but a winch, and like it's called Factor 55. He invented that. He's also an inventor for the government. He invents listening devices for the CIA. He was very, very put out in 2011 when most of the bids were won by the Chinese to develop these devices. Like, yeah, and now he got the F out of Idaho and got in a camper van with his wife, who was a bartender. We all met in Rome on a hop on, hop off bus tour, and then met again in Cinque Terre. They're awesome people, but they're traveling the country in their truck, and they shroom all the time. And this is a super accomplished couple that have done a lot and just live life, not to what your norm tells you is super accomplished. But again, we met in Rome and in Cinque Terre and shit. They've been all over the world and they've lived life. And they went to Burning Man, and that's where they started shrooming. I did shrooms once. My friend took me out to a cow pasture and flick it before you pick it, so the next day you get some more. And,
I remember those days.
Yeah.
5 o'clock in the morning before going to milk them, you go check their patties.
So I haven't done it more than that one time, but it was
I didn't grow up under those
mellow mushroom feeling. All I saw was like it was like a 1/4 inch of water all over the floor, and that was the only hallucination that I got. But everything else was super relaxed and nothing bad from that.
So I'll tell the truth now that we're 2 hours into this. I've been on psilocybin the entire time.
I knew it. You told me you were gonna do it. I knew it.
A low dose, just to calm, sit still in the chair, keep me a little knocked down a little bit. People who know me know that I move a lot. I'm crazy, stressed out most of the time. So absolutely, psilocybin is a beneficial medical use. But ketamine, which is what we're talking about, is not.
And other stuff can help you function. Look at this. This totally functional human being here helping us out, enlightening us on what happened here. So go on, Brian.
Well, I'm looking at the chat. I'm seeing that Miami Beach Audits is asking why Colorado is using ketamine by paramedics when MDs are only supposed to be able to use it. And this is the big question. This is the big tell-all. Is why is the Colorado Department of Public Health authorizing waivers for untrained paramedics to be utilizing ketamine, averaging the doses based on weight, other quick math, without doing physical examinations of the patient prior to injection, to the degree where we know that there are places in Colorado that are giving at least one ketamine injection in that county daily, and some may be doing 10 to 20 a day per county.
I can't. This is like the drugging of America. Like this is going to be the new form of policing in the future. They're just going to put you under ether. They're going to drug you into compliance. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do they, obviously we know they carry ketamine. Do they carry Narcan as well?
So I carry Narcan.
No,
right?
Do the police carry Narcan?
It is becoming more regular, but the reality is that Narcan is, in Colorado at least, available to citizens. We our mutual aid groups, our paramedics, our street medics, our food servers. There's a Buddhist. I want to call her a saint. Them a saint. They feed the homeless every day. Cook food, coffee out of their van. They got clothes, everything. They carry Narcan on them. We know that Narcan is a big deal. Do cops use it regularly? I don't know that they are. I don't think that they are really wanting. And here's the troubling part. Because
they should. Every department should have every cop should have Narcan.
But it's the mentality, and I hate it, because the mentality is good. One less drug addict. Narcan saves lives.
Well, I know it does, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but you are right. Some people in law enforcement feel that way. I mean, some people feel that way, but there are people like myself, that don't feel that way, of course. But then again, my life is different from most of these other guys. My brother was a heroin addict, so I grew up around that. My father went to prison for murder. My stepfather was a drug dealer. He went to prison. So I grew up around these circumstances. So in South Philadelphia, South Florida. So I just, from being street smart, being in the neighborhood, and having the life experience I had, I was able to bring that. I rolled that into my career in law enforcement, and I believe it served me excellent. It didn't help me with management. It didn't, as far as getting promoted and things. No, it didn't. It didn't. But you know what? I came with the attitude after I was finished from the Navy, after I retired. I came in with the attitude like, look, guys, I don't really give a shit about getting promoted. I came with nothing. I'll fucking leave with nothing. That was my whole thing, you know? So I'm just going to do the right thing. I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to try to leave people better than I found them. That's
how we should live life completely, not just at our job, but how we should leave this earth. If you have kids, you understand you're just borrowing the earth from them. You got to give it to them.
Well, and I worked when I was a military policeman. When I was working on the road, I worked with guys that would like literally pray that they would draw their weapon that day, or have the justification to shoot someone. And I was always like, Jesus Christ, I hope that never happens to me. When I got off the plane in Iraq and I hit the ground and I was getting convoyed into my first fob, we went under attack. We were under attack on a roadside. A bunch of people were shooting at us. And just I was 25 minutes off the plane with my dog in the Humvee. All right. And I'm going, Jesus, like, I mean, but still I prayed to God even every day that I didn't have to kill anybody, you know, but it's, you know.
Hey, have you guys seen Nomadland? Nomadland is about a lady who lives in her van and has to travel the country working from here.
Oh, I saw the preview.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, it's highly acclaimed. So check that out.
It's with that lady Frances McDonald
from Fargo. That's right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I did see the new movie with Denzel Washington. Since we're talking about police, he's like a detective.
Yeah, the Kern County at San Joaquin Valley Transparency and I were talking about that because
I didn't like it. It had a weird ending. I didn't really like it.
The movie was star-studded, but at the same time, it was meh.
Well, you know, we regularly ask the cops not to kill somebody today, and you know, you laugh, but you know, it's like, why is this happening in Colorado with the ketamine?
Yeah,
why is this happening? You know, I just had a commander yesterday ask if he should turn himself into internal investigations because he wasn't wearing a body camera, and you know, I called him out on it, but the reality is that we've been facing and we've been fighting brutality, authoritarian dictatorship by police officers who have this, you know, this bully pulpit that they've got to just get vendetta off. And it doesn't make sense, but I see, you know, we've seen this for years in police violence and police assaults. The use of drugs to be a less than lethal weapon against a subject is not the way to go.
Bro, I think, guess what? I had a revelation. I think that's going to be their model. They want to put everyone under fucking ether. So in other words, as soon as they get to the scene, excited delirium, shot in your ass, and now all of a sudden he tried to grab my gun. He went crazy. It's a slippery slope, man.
They tried to grab the gun. What was the findings? Did they say no, nothing supports that? Or?
So they actually say that there is no body camera evidence to support or disprove.
Okay,
it's an important factor. If you were to go back and look at my videos, and I tried to pull up some stuff, but it's too much going on in a day. When they tear gassed the violin concert, we went down the row of officers and we dressed them down. We saw the ones that were trigger happy, the ones that were ashamed to be there by their you know, the look on their face, and that they cared about their job because of the sharp, clean lines of their uniform. I didn't get accepted into the military. I was on Ritalin in high school, so they didn't want that. My vision wasn't good enough to fly. So various excuses, whatever. I never served, okay? But I went to a military high school, and I served. I was in martial arts, and your sensei teaches you about caring about your uniform, your line, your belt buckle, your pants, your shirt buttoned up if you're wearing a suit.
Military alignment, yeah.
Right? So if a cop gets dressed and it goes out for the job and he's sloppily put together, that's his attitude when he goes out there. It's sloppy.
Attitude is the aroma of your heart. If your attitude stinks, your heart needs work.
I like that, man. I like that. Listen, you've been doing this. Hey, Brian, you've been doing these good deeds, for less fortunate people for many years now. As far as I'm concerned, you did serve, and you served in the Peace Corps. You understand? You served stateside in the Peace Corps, bro. So I salute
even better.
you.
You served in the Liberty Corps, Brian Loma. Thank you. You're a general there, along with Admiral Eric Brandt.
Admiral
Eric. And he said he left the Navy with Liberty is there as El Guerrillero. he just gets dropped off in an island somewhere, and he lives off coconuts for a bit until his mission.
Man, he's out of there. He is. I love him. I love him. He's hilarious, man. So he's Sam Kennison.
I go back to Denver and meet up with you guys. When I went there, I was just like not woke, and I was just going to. I went to the Granby Rotary Club. I was in Granby because I was staying in Grand Lake, and I was meeting these people, and I'm like, okay. And now that I look back at it, I was like, no wonder that guy ran his bulldozer over those assholes. Like they were just, yeah.
Oh yeah, Granby, where the guy made the
bulldozer. That's right.
Yeah.
He's incredible, man. He's incredible. He really is.
It's disgusting. I and Eric both got area restrictions where they, prior to a conviction in a court of law, banned us from being in public spaces where we were able to use our free speech to educate.
Yeah.
I was employed by the mayor's opponent in an election year when the city attorney's office promised to ban me from the 16th Street Mall, our public shopping district in downtown Denver. Right? We were putting a ballot issue on the ballot to give the homeless rights.
Yeah.
And we were fighting to put new representatives in office.
Good for
I
you.
videotaped cops telling a woman who was on hospice care, living in a electric wheelchair. She had a tent. Now, this woman wore diapers and a muumuu. And she had a tent that covered her wheelchair, so it would be enclosed.
Okay.
And I watched them make her move in the middle of the night. Right? Today is the Saturday, the 27th. Yesterday was Friday, the 26th. It was 16 degrees outside when I first learned that peace officers, alleged police, city workers from 7 agencies on average show up to do a homeless sweep. Right?
Yeah.
7 agencies.
I was trying to talk to Eric and Abade about, because I saw them when they would cover the homeless sweeps, and they said, "Yeah, talk to Brian about that, man. He knows."
It's catastrophic.
these people are already finding like, all right, where can I go where they're not gonna fuck with me? Okay, out here into the industrial area where nobody should care, nobody should give a damn, but some Karen drives by and says, homeless people, cops, come get them out of my sight. And that's what happens. These people have spent a couple weeks putting together shanty shelters where they have some kind of warmth from not just Denver, but whatever cold or whatever extreme, stuff that they have to deal with. Not even extreme, just regular elements that they have to deal with wherever they are in the country. And then the cops come and undo all that work, take it away, throw it out, tell them they have a certain amount of time, right?
In Colorado, it's gotten to a point where the federal courts have said, you're not allowed to move people until you legally give them notice. And this week, a traumatic displacement. This is the new word. It's not a homeless sweep, right? We're not cleaning up homelessness by housing people and terminating the residencies in the city streets because they live in buildings. We're traumatically displacing them from places where we can see them and moving them to places where we don't see them, right?
Yeah.
These traumatic displacements cost so much money. They cost so much mental health, stress and trauma. And we see this, right? We don't see meth distribution in factories being cleaned up. We don't see people with schizophrenia being put in permanent housing. We don't see somebody.
We have kids being thrown in cages and paying like super rich people a lot of money to be even richer to house those kids and like immigrants or whatever they're. But homeless veterans, they're not getting any mental treatment or any services or anything. Homeless or that's I forgot what's the wrong term.
Oh, homeless sweep. It's traumatic displacement now.
Oh, okay.
That's the term. And you're right, because being traumatically displaced over and over and over again, it actually takes your life expectancy down.
Yeah.
Right? A year living, they say a year living on the street is equivalent to 7 years of life.
Wow. That's like the
HPR News
it's like dog years. 1 year equals 7 to a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Look, HPR News has some stuff he's working out. He's going like I guess you're working on being able to be mobile and move around. I actually just bought a pop-up camper, and I got to do a shout out because Addis, if you're watching Addis, thank you, sir. It was so funny. My wife saw it on the Facebook Marketplace, and I went and I said, "We love camping. We usually do primitive camping. Let's do a pop-up camper now that we have kids." So we went and got it. The guy didn't know, anything. I'm wearing a mask and stuff, and he says he's a truck driver. I said, "Oh, I got a YouTube channel." He goes, "I knew it was you, Rights Crispy."
Those are the best, right? When somebody says. So I see Lone Wolf in here, and I don't think it's the same Lone Wolf that I know. Lone Wolf Community Watch from Peoria, Illinois. I used to live in Peoria. I was in Peoria with Lone Wolf. We're at a cigar shop getting some joint papers, and somebody's like, "You cut the plastic," and we've had with Eric and had people like just drive up on the side of the road, like, "Found you. You're Eric Brandt. You're cut the plastic." And we're like, but like to be out of town and have that happen is crazy. So I can appreciate that.
You guys deserve it, man. You guys deserve it. You deserve
it. Look, Brian, when Rob makes it big, because people, it's impossible to hate Rob's guts like they hate our guts because we're doing activism. Rob is like, hey, the people who hate our guts, hey, blue line. Hey, if you love the blue line, unquestionably, you have to love Rob. But even if you didn't love the blue line, unquestionably, you're gonna love Rob. That's why Rob is gonna have 1 million subscribers in less than a year, and Rob is gonna motivate a lot of people who are struggling with. Rob, can you? I don't know if you know, Brian, but Rob has a spinal injury, and there are a lot of people who. Did you know this, Brian?
No.
Let him know, Rob. Please take it away.
I was. Well, November of last year, I developed an infection in my eye. It was I worked in a federal prison, and we have outbreaks of chickenpox and MRSA and all these other diseases, even Legionnaire's disease and stuff that was, I guess, supposed to be cured. Filthy environment, and I developed an eye infection. Prior to this, I was in the Navy for 20 years. So I ended up developing this infection. They thought it was pink eye. It wasn't. Then my eyes completely were bleeding and swelled shut. And they finally tested it, and it was staph infection. So they treated it. It took about a week or two, and they gave me medicine, and it went away. But it really didn't go away. I thought it went away. It manifested in my spine. And it created an abscess. And from that, the infection from the staph infection was pushing into my spinal cord, and actual pus was dripping down my cord. So I woke up one morning and I was completely paralyzed from the waist down and urinated myself. And that was November of my birthday of November of 2019. And I was told I was never going to walk again. I was never going to get any movement back, any feeling back. And that, I begged them to kill me, because I didn't want to live on the operating table. I went into emergency surgery and the whole journey from there to being where I am now, where I'm on a walker, I'm pushing a walker, a lot of my movement, my feelings came back. I still got horrible nerve pain. How I discovered cannabis, it saved my life. I wasn't a cannabis smoker until I had my spinal injury, and I didn't want to take the pain pills anymore because I didn't want to get addicted. As soon I actually had to wean myself off of them because they were giving them to me like they were Tic Tacs, and from there, I discovered cannabis through a friend, a very good friend, and from there, here I am.
You see that? That's not anything fresh or anything. Look at that. That's 4 Dan. That's 4th degree black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
This guy's no joke, man.
That's crazy. I understand about the painkillers. I
completely stopped.
You were at the helm right there, right?
I was at the helm that day. Yeah.
Wow. So I don't know if you can see in the screen the scar on my wrist. I broke both my wrists simultaneously in a bicycle accident.
Oh, damn.
And this one was rebuilt. So nothing like what you've described, the spine and the pus. But I got hooked on crack once in my life. Got over, February 18th marks over a decade. I just remember the 18th is the date, but it's been over a decade free now, and maybe even the 10-year mark. The point being that big pharma, ketamine, Vicodin, OxyContin, all that stuff is horrible. Tito's vodka. Well,
that was Rob Farlow's.
I was an alcoholic.
That was your anchor, right?
Yeah. I used to drink a bottle a day.
He said if he would have invested on Tito's vodka, he would have broken even. Right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I would have broken even.
Coca-Cola, folks. That's what I'm drinking. Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola, huh? Is that without the cocaine?
Yeah.
By the way, I've got to ask because I want to say that ship that you're on right now is from Firefly.
Oh no, this is Star Wars.
It's the Millennium Falcon.
I think so.
Yeah, that's the Millennium Falcon.
I think so.
This is my first guess. I'm like, nah, that doesn't look right. So you went from being a fully physical guy to being paralyzed here.
Hope everybody had a good Christmas. We got 2 more days left in this shithole of a year, and then it's 2021. Look, there's Amazon. They're about the only ones that had a good 2020 over there. Jeff Bezos and all his billions of dollars, right?
I like the one where you said, "Look at me, I look like a Russian ballerina." That was so great. This is it, right? Is this it?
I don't think so.
No.
Right there, Dickie. Wait right there. Don't you move a muscle, Dickie. You like this shit, huh? Look at me. I'm like a fucking Russian ballet dancer. Come on, shipmate.
Isn't that wonderful? Look at that. And that was 1 year, a little bit over a year ago. He was completely paralyzed from the waist down. He couldn't move. And now that's awesome, man. And you said your friend gave you a joint to smoke and you attribute a lot.
He gave me a joint to smoke. And that was it. It gave me the pause button, that I needed in my life to open my brain up. It opened my brain like a friggin' door, and it allowed me to heal. And then it trickled down to my body, and it relaxed me. And I was like, "Where have you been in my whole life?"
Before your brain was open, look, you were like, "Yeah, this mustache is okay. Yeah, I'm gonna rock it."
Yeah, look. Yeah. Who wants a mustache ride?
Well, I've given a few of those. Let me say. I saw something in the chat, and I want to answer it real quick if I can.
Yes,
it was Miami Beach audit says Miami Beach tried to ban homeless feeding in public. Religious organizations sued federally, and the court said they can't. It's an unconstitutional restraint of religious freedom. I want you to know that before that, the Supreme Court actually ruled, or maybe afterwards, but it's Food Not Bombs versus Fort Lauderdale down there in Florida. It's tried to stop the feeding, and the Supreme Court of the United States of America ruled, citing Macbeth.
Wow.
That to
that's it. This is our last show here. I just killed it.
No, the Supreme Court cited Macbeth, William Shakespeare, saying that you're a bad host not to have a feast, and that to have a public forum of discussion must accept that food is part of that speech. So anytime you want to protest the conditions of the government, whether it's the use of ketamine by police officers, the conditions of the homeless, Fort Lauderdale versus Food Not Bombs, or I got it backwards, is your constitutional right to have a free speech table of food.
Nice. And you know what? You're as far as free speech, you're just not supposed to say the name of that play on stage, because it's super bad luck, and you said it like 5 times.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Thanks a lot. This is our last show, folks. Signing off. Thank you.
No, it's okay. I haven't done this for ages. It could be my last show. You'll be good.
No, but really, we are like, I told you, hey, we I'm not trying to be a bad host. That face, my bad, Brian. But I do want to. I know you said you have a lot of work to do that you have to go to tomorrow, because you're every day, 7 days a week, you're out there helping people out. So please, let's move on with what you got to show us, what you found. You sent me like 10 documents, and this is just one of them.
Okay, so I mean, really, this is the public document. This is public record. Yeah. It's available.
What was that resume on there? Whose resume was that?
Huh?
There's some dude's resume in there.
I don't remember. That was yesterday. That was 3 hours ago. I said that, maybe 5.
Yeah.
I don't know. What sticks to me in this report is real simple. The police showed up. They had an attitude that a human being was committing a crime when no investigation and no crime occurred. They then instructed paramedics to use a chemical substance. The medical professionals did nothing to show that they were professional in medics in any way, shape, or form. They injected the ketamine without doing any research on the body, the physical condition, and days later, this person died, was pulled from the plug. So I see the resume. Oh, I think the resume was probably for
just one of the people who was on the board or the citizens.
Was the cop that was on the board. I'm looking at it now. It's Roberto Villaseñor.
No, there was another guy, Robert Smith or something like that. Or something.
Roberto Villaseñor sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan Mark Smith is the executive director of the Washington Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights and Urban Affairs. I think these are the 3 people who were on the panel, because then the third resume should have been the medical resume of Melissa Costello. So the resumes were the 3 board members of the independent panel, showing that they had the expertise. There was a resolution to have the report read to city council, and the city of Aurora. The city council members were so pissed off at this and the police investigating themselves and quickly saying, we didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
That they, in July of 2020, now we have to remember that George Floyd was May 26th, roughly. The protest started on the 28th. And by the way, if you don't know the history of Denver's protest, starting on the 28th of 2020, public demonstrations began. Those demonstrations continued well into October.
Yep.
Where a Patriot muster and soup drive counter protest occurred, and a man was killed in Denver because he pulled out bear mace and was assaulting people.
Oh, I saw that. And wasn't that right next to you? Didn't you? Wait, who was that? That was like
I ran. Actually, I was like
kind of across the street. They were up against the fence, right?
Yeah.
But that was you who was across the street, right?
I was across the street.
Yeah.
I ran into the scene. I actually ran in front of cops. They showed up behind me. The mentality of pro-police always being right.
Yeah, they're beyond reproach. Yeah.
Beyond reproach. This is the thing that keeps coming back to me. Because when I last had a relationship with my family before George Floyd, implicit bias was something that my family talked about. There's a lieutenant in my family of a police department who does a good job. I would like to think. He actually opened his police department lobby up for the unhoused to sleep in at night until they got drunk and locked themselves in bathrooms and didn't let cleaning crews clean up and stuff like that. That practice had to stop, but he tried. Anyway, I'm getting on a trail.
No, I like that one, man. I mean, I feel your pain because these last few years we've lost a lot of close friends and family because of people that none of us have ever met, and it's messed up. You know?
Yeah, but implicit bias is the issue at hand. It's the issue that says that because you see somebody sleeping in a tent on a sidewalk, you think that they're a drug addict, that they have no drive or no purpose in life, that they are lazy. I'm a former insurance agent. 90% of Americans are 3 paychecks away from making decisions about their housing.
Yeah.
Probably about 2 now.
Well,
yeah, it's probably going down now because they're. But wait, they're gonna get some more crumbs here soon. It was just voted. So
what?
$1,400.
All right, so I'm tired. I'm tired of.
Sorry, I'm throwing references out there about the stimulus checks that like.
No, I got you. I'm just thinking that I'm tired because I got some stimulus checks. It helped, right? But we have to understand that stimulus is assistance for people who need help, right? And mental health crises, housing crises, health crises, food security crises is not sexist. I don't know what Browner Boy here is saying is sexist, but these are real issues, right? They're debilitating for some people, and focusing on our peace force, helping people, serving in a way that says, yeah, you know what? If I see somebody shooting up a bank, I gotta stop that, right?
Right.
But I also gotta tell you, just this week I had to call the commander of my local police department because his underling, my employee, Jay Harvey, badge number 10003, left a bag with heroin needles at the scene of a heroin drug bust. Right? They asked all the suspects, "Is this your property?" They all said no, so they put the bag down and left the drugs behind.
That is that is a major terminatable offense.
Yeah,
I would think so, but he was on the job the next day, right? Crash landed, who was in the stream, was on the scene videotaping this idiocy, right? Body cameras are not always going to take care of it. It's about good training. It's got to be about not thinking that every human being out there is a criminal. In Elijah McClain's case, he was treated as a criminal by the person driving down the street with a bias that a black person with a ski mask is automatically committing crimes. Yeah. No understanding of the medical condition of small veins that have a hard time pumping blood. Therefore, heat is an issue. Body temperature is a concern, right? When we think about, excuse me, somebody that lives on the sidewalk between the road and the trees or whatever, we have to think about what got them there. Because whether you served with Rob as a veteran, honoring the Constitution, or whether you got problems and you don't know how to deal with them and you crashed in your brain and you lost it all. People have to be considered the priority if we're going to be a species that survives.
Ramen.
By the way, did you know that Eric Branches had his photo taken for his driver's license with a strainer on top?
With the spaghetti strainer on top. He's worshiping the almighty spaghetti monster.
He's a clerk. He's actually clergy.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's registered as clergy.
You know about that, Rob?
He can do non-conjugal visits.
You know about that, Rob?
No, what, he got an online
No, the Church
minister
of the Almighty
thing or whatever.
The Church of the Spaghetti
Church of the
Monster.
what?
The
No, I don't
spaghetti
know about the
monster.
spaghetti monster.
Oh yeah, so in Colorado, you're allowed to wear your religious headgear on your driver's license photo. So he wore a spaghetti strainer upside down on his head, which is the official Pastafarian headgear.
Right, and since it's spaghetti, the God is a spaghetti monster. Instead of amen,
and he's
you
the
say
Pope, and
ramen.
he's the Pope. He's the Pope of the Pastafarian Church.
Right, but Rice Crispy just said ramen, which is the amen, the praise of a
Instead of
Pastafarian.
amen, you say ramen because of ramen noodles.
Ra is the sun. That's what the Egyptians used to say.
That one too, because of that too.
Yeah, that's what I
And
thought you meant. 'Cause
they celebrate holiday. Right? Holiday. That's the name of the holiday. It's holiday.
That's a cool day.
Right.
That's totally. I can totally. That's totally him, man.
And that I think that's the beauty of this country is that we can do that to overcome religious zealots that are trying to tell you, like,
yeah,
you know, putting a scarlet letter on you and stuff. You tell them, no, I'm gonna worship Festivus. Leave me alone for the rest of us. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
we Latter-day Saints.
Hey, I was Mormon. I was Mormon at 14. I got baptized in Mormon. At 15, I was like, this is fucking insane. I'm going back to base, and I got out of here.
I've met some nice Mormons. They were very nice people, and when they would tell me about like the planets and shit, I was a little taken back. Not that. I mean, look, I got the Catholic Jew in me. All right, so I'm just like, to me, I'm just in a state of confusion about religion 24/7. So
I was raised Catholic, but I still have my Book of Mormon, and I still have all my notes that I made in it. So if I've offended anyone, I challenge you to a debate. Let's talk about anachronisms.
I don't know.
Welcome aboard anytime. Huh?
But I do got to ask, did you hear the one about the Catholic priest?
No, tell me.
Well, we stopped telling jokes about pedophiles.
Good one.
You know, the Catholic Church, the sex scandals.
I know. Yeah.
We actually
tough crowd.
The saint of homelessness was right here in Denver, and it turns out that after a major investigation into the Catholic diocese in Colorado, that even Father Woody was using his Woody in the wrong way.
Using the Woody, yeah.
Woody.
Hey, the stuff you guys do with, I'm surprised. Have you met any Jesuit priests on your travels?
There's a big school, a Jesuit school here. They're the most learned order of priests.
Oh yeah. Oh no, they work with the homeless. They build schools. They teach. They're the military. They're a military order.
Listen, I was raised Catholic. I have my whole family is Catholic on both sides. My Dominican, we have some Christians, but mostly Catholic on both sides. My Irish and my Dominican side.
Wait, what's the difference between a Catholic and a Christian?
You believe in monsters.
You believe in monsters. You pray to false gods.
This is my dad was a Catholic priest, and they're not supposed to have kids. And my mom was studying to be a nun, and they got together, and I'm here. That's my backstory.
Was he Orthodox Catholic? Because they are allowed to marry.
No, he was Catholic priest. And his brother is still a Catholic priest.
You mean Russian and Greek Orthodox, not Roman Catholic? Yeah.
No, not Roman.
No, he was Roman Catholic priest.
Yeah, Roman.
And he was not allowed to do what he did, but I'm glad he did, because we wouldn't be here.
There you go. Seminary school. Oh my God, that's so bad.
Yeah. You know that there are a lot of jokes about rape on a man. There's an entire movie about it called Get Hard.
Right.
Kevin Hart and Will Ferrell, where the whole movie is just a long joke about, oh, I don't want to get sodomized, so help me get hard before I go to jail.
Oh wow, that's kind of
It's
rough.
disturbing to think about how they made an entire movie about male rape and how comfortable and normal it is. And Rob, I mean, you were there, dude, but you never let it happen in front of you. You told him not to.
No. Oh, I had a guy. If you want a prison story, I'll give you one. I had a guy, and he loved to go after white boys, and he was a big motherfucker too. And he used to act like he was crazy, but he really wasn't crazy. It was an act. He was like he had a big, intimidating type of menacing look to him. And he was a strong guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. And, I just knew if there was one that walked into the unit and he would start like trying to like finesse him and like bring him soap and bring him toothpaste, like, you know what I'm saying? Bring him, here's coffee. I know you don't have your commissary money yet. All this, and that was his,
a booty bandit.
Yeah, booty bandit. Yeah, that's one of the names. Yeah. So, but and I remember, I just knew, and I remember I would tell him, I'm like, listen, if one walked in, because I knew his type, you know what I mean? So I'd be like, if one walked in, I would just say, hey, bro, let me tell you something. You try that shit with him here, you're gonna have a problem you can't fucking deal with. And I would tell him, and he would be like. He would be like, no, man, I ain't trying. I said, no. I know what you're thinking, but you better get out of your head. I'm just telling you. And I would do that. And I would, hopefully if you're not involved in a gang, like, you know what I'm saying? And you're not willing to join a gang, because if you come in, if you say you're in a gang, then immediately you're going to go with your gang members, and you better not be lying or you're going to get beat up bad. Yeah. All right. But if you're there, like a white kid, one of the white gangs might approach him and say, hey, join our gang. And he might say, look, I'm not down with all that racial shit. You understand what I mean? And from there, now they would allow this dude to prey on him. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's horrible.
We don't do that here. I'm gonna be real clear. It's really interesting because I was watching some stuff like down in Florida. They got the pods and your whites and this, that, the other thing.
Yeah.
They do the damnedest. There's like no gang pods. That is
good.
Now that's a state thing, or not the feds though. I was in the feds.
Yeah, I've never been in the feds. I've never been in the federal system.
It's all gangs and racial politics in the Fed system.
So we got 3 minutes to 1 a.m. Brian's yawning. Can we? Yep. You got any wrap ups for us, Brian?
Well, I just appreciate you. I really want to recognize that the work of auditors, gonzo journalists, free speech activists, from Otto the Watchdog to Joe Cool, you get yourself. We got Johnny 50. All these folks, whoever it is, wherever you're at out there, filming your employees. It's your tax dollars. They're earning their salaries from. They're your employees. Keeping an eye and holding them accountable is some real shit. It's great, responsible activity. If you're not involved in a community, like I fuck COVID, get out there, right? Yeah. If there's anything that we have learned is that isolation sucks. And the way to change the world around you is to go do it physically.
Unless you have kids, focus on your kids. If you have kids, focus on them. Shape them. If they're still young and shapeable and their minds are like sponges, Let them, once they turn teenagers, then go out and do what Brian's doing. But if you have young kids,
take the kids with you,
or do both. Do both.
Take the kids with you.
I try to do both. You know,
right? Like if you're in a faith community, then in your faith community you're going to do these things, right? If you're in a neighborhood association, do good to your neighborhood association. If you don't know the people who live on the left of your house and the people who live to the right of your house, make friends, share some food, right?
That's a universal sign of friendship. If an alien came from outer space and you gave him something good to eat, he won't zap you with his ray gun. So share some good food, and that's like, even if it's just, you know, a little fruit basket or something you put together. You don't have to know how to cook to put a fruit basket together to take to your neighbor and be like, hey, I know this is kind of weird because it's 2021, not 1955, but I want to let you know that I'm at your service over here. I live right next door, and if you ever need anything, if you don't have a tool or something, just give it back how I gave it to you.
Yeah.
Shit like that. That's just it becomes easier. Like I told you, it becomes easier once you fake it till you make it, and it's so much better, so much easier to try to live a life of good and leaving a better world behind.
Yeah, and that's my goal. That's my goal. With accountability, with human interaction and change, and with sustainable consumption and lifestyle practices.
Actually, It's not that easy. Sometimes it's very difficult because we're in a world of sheeple who just don't get it. We're in a world of people who want to lie to themselves, not just to other people. They want to lie to themselves and say, get out of here. My tax collector doesn't need you recording them. I don't care if they sold our private information in 2017 for $77 million, and that's why you're getting a call about your vehicle's warranty. Get out of here with your scary camera. It's not easy all the time.
No, it's not. And I have a clip of Eric that I'm trying to find the right video to use. And he says, we're at the courthouse, and he says, you know, a lot of people think that it's fun yelling at the cops. And it is. There's a lot of work.
I wake up every morning to read, okay, who hates my guts today? It's very satisfying to see, like, people are like, oh man, thank you and stuff like that. But then I see the people who are like, God, you're such a piece of shit. Why don't you get out of your mother's basement and stuff like that? Man, it's like, you're so wrong. I am kind of a piece of shit, but not that much of a piece of shit like you think.
Yeah. And
my take on it. Go ahead. You guys are true patriots. You guys are going down there like you know, and you're fighting for our constitutional rights. And I appreciate you guys doing that. And now that people are starting to recognize your voice, recognize your name in public, you got people that are watching your work. So you guys are doing good. And like I said, it's not a
deal coming from a patriot like you, though, man. That means a great deal. You're the true patriot, man. Like, you're here with us. You're going against a lot of people. Like, I see the gym where you go, they hang the blue line flag, man. You know what I mean? And those people got to be like, hey, what the hell are you doing on this Rice Krispie channel? I hope if you guys are watching, you understand we're just trying to make good progress here.
No, listen, hey, no. First of all, I don't get attached to inanimate objects like that. I don't like any alterations to our flag, period. So, however, my gym, you know, and I look at it this way: I give respect, I get respect back. That's how I was always
respecting. If someone wants to fly a Confederate flag on their property, someone wants to fly a blue flag on their property, you better respect them. I do. I respect. If you have a Confederate flag on your property, thank you for letting me know who you are.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in a gym that had a Confederate flag. Yeah.
So I want to tell you that.
I sure as hell wouldn't go in a gym with a swastika. They would get me. I'm Jewish. I would nothing to do with that. But anyway, what I was saying is, here we are. You guys are patriots, and I love the work. You guys are making a difference. You guys, like I said, just concentrate. Don't worry about changing the whole system. Just make a dent. Just worry about your dent. And if everybody makes a dent, then it'll change. So don't take it's like a pizza. You don't eat the whole thing, one slice. Everybody just concentrate on their one slice, and let's make our dents. And that's what you guys are doing. And of course, I want you must watch your employees, and the employees must be respectful to their employers. However, if you're an employer and you're verbally abusing your employee, you're wrong too.
Ooh, that's interesting. I think that there's a good space for that, right? That abusive relationships beget abusive relationships.
Yes, they do. And that's what I'm saying. And if you really want, think about it. A guy like me, there are people in America that no matter what cops do, they could watch that video of that young man being murdered. They could watch cops shoot somebody unarmed in the street. They're still going to say, well, they must have been doing something wrong because the police don't just do that.
I know it's so hard.
about, I know, but it's about winning them. Okay. And when you win them, how you win them is by being respectful to your employees and your employers respectful to their employees. You understand? And that's how, to me, that's how you get that type of person, because mom and pop looking at that going, hey.
Like a real undercover boss episode, like try to be like that. And what you said about the pizza, don't eat the whole pizza, eat it slice by slice. Brian gave us a lot of information.
I'm just giving my opinion.
There's that
my opinion.
So like take that report, read it slice by slice. Don't try to read it all. Understand it. It's 100 and something pages long. You know, we gotta there's a lot to take in with that. So that's the Citizen Review Board findings. Brian gave us the bullet points tonight. Please go.
Actually, that's correct. It's not the Citizen Review. It's an independent review. Only because Citizen Review might think that there's actually a police accountability board or something that this was attached to. Not at all.
Right. Totally independent. So please go check it out, read it all. And thank you, Brian, for being here. Thanks for all you do. Thanks for sharing everything and your time, mostly. That's the most precious thing we all have. And you have spent a lot of time here. We didn't expect to be this long, and you have a lot of time that you spend doing other things. And I know you got a big day tomorrow, so thank you very much for your time.
I seriously have to thank you. I haven't been on a panel, a chat, maybe since Jeff is here, back before all of this George Floyd started. I'm honored. I'm touched. It's nice to meet you, Rob. Writes as well.
Pleasure. My pleasure.
Seeing your faces here. I don't do a lot of watching streams because I do a lot of the work. We're out there all the time. But I'm grateful to have a space on the platform, and for all the people who reach out to communicate. If you're ever in Colorado, don't be shy. We'll hook you up. And Rob, if you just want to fly up here so that you can enjoy a week of small micro doses just to reset your system and get happy, we'll get you taken care of. And I saw because what's his face was out here with Tyrant Hunter and HPR News or whatever, and we take Joe Cool just left, right? Here's the tab rig, buddy. Right, here's the bowl. You want to go see the sights? Want to go see the mountains? Here's an edible. Let's go driving. Whatever. Right. We'll take care of you. So,
I
will take you up on that. I really will.
Come out here, and you've got a place to stay. I'll cook you up some good food. Our family is very proud of our hospitality. So, anytime you come down here, you have another home over here, brother.
All right. Well, I need to try to get to Florida one of these days. I hear that's where all the action's at these days.
Yeah.
Right
and I want to thank everybody in the chat. They're all giving you ones, Brian. I asked them to type 1 to thank you, and you see all those ones right there.
I do.
Thank everybody in the chat. Thanks to everybody who is watching. Thanks whoever is watching this in the future. If you missed it, please be here for the next Saturday Night Bang. And Rob, you want to sign us off, brother?
Yeah, I'm the public official. Ready? I'm ready to be dismissed. You're the citizen, Brian.
You're dismissed.
I'm out of here. See you guys.
Have a good night, all. Thank you.
Thanks again, Brian. Thanks again, everybody. Good night, y'all.